in the film. It's just, it was, yeah, it was tough. It was a tough watch.
No, I get that for sure. I don't think I've ever seen that one. And I'll be honest, when you first said it, I thought you were basically just making reference to, like, the Eye of the Beholder, like, in terms of, like, certain film might be good for certain people because, like, that's how they see it.
Yeah, so this movie perfectly personifies that for me, because people, this is kind of it's a polarizing thing. Film can be very, 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 very polarizing, because you love what you love, you hate what you hate. I don't like people that are too hypercritical. There are those that are like significantly hypercritical of every single film, and I think that's kind of where you're going with it, is people that are just, they just want to nitpick. And we're talking about film. It's an art form. There is a suspension of disbelief that has to go into watching film.
Sure.
It's an art medium where, there are tons of different factors that are coming into play. Not only do you have the script and the actors, but you have sound design, you have costume design, you have set design, you have, special effects. If there's a special effects, VFX crew, you have, there's just so many different components that go into the film. Cinematography is huge. For me, cinematography is huge. A movie can be slow, like a slow burn type film, but if the cinematography is amazing and the sound design is on point, holy cow, you want to talk about captivating? That's captivating. You've captured my visual eye. It's like, this is beautifully shot. Perfect example, Midsommar. Slow burn film, but man, the cinematography in that movie is amazing.
I haven't seen it yet, and the biggest.
Oh, really?
Outside of the fact that I'm like super late on it, obviously, I do know how important it is to see it. I don't have any detail on it, other than I am making a huge mistake by not seeing the director's cut, and that's what I'm having trouble finding. But that's my intent, is to watch the director's cut of it.
I would say don't even bother trying to wait for a director's cut. I didn't even know there was a director's cut, to be honest, of Midsommar. I don't own that. I own Midsommar, and I've watched it a few times.
Yeah.
That movie is worth watching. The performances, cinematography.
That's a good one.
With the importance to see it, but at the same time, they're like, if you have the option, you're doing yourself a disservice by not seeing the director's cut first. So I'm like, either way, I'm having trouble finding it right now. So, as soon as I get my hands on it, though, I'm definitely watching it.
But yes, I would highly recommend that film. I thoroughly enjoyed that movie. I didn't expect to enjoy it quite as much as I did.
Same here.
But man, once the performances start going, and Florence Pugh and her performance is amazing in that film. And I'm a big fan, I'm a big fan of horror in general, but this definitely falls into, a specific subgenre of horror, that I really enjoy as well. So, but yeah, it's a fantastic film.
Yeah, Midsummer's great. What's up, guys?
What's up, fellas?
5x5.
What's going on? How we doing?
Fellas, welcome in. Glad you could make it in. Welcome in.
Yeah.
Didn't even notice everyone joined up. I was up on my box.
You were on your soapbox, man. I mean that's what this is for, right? I like it.
Right.
I like it. I haven't seen Midsommar, so look,
That's not really the topic. The topic at hand. I mean, obviously, we're going to be talking about horror
slashers.
But, we're going. very specific in a specific subgenre of horror, of which there are many great examples, all the way back to the birth of the slasher film in the 70s.
Yeah.
Or some could say
I mean,
maybe a
Psycho,
little earlier than that.
1964.
So, well,
Yeah,
some could
it'll
say.
be interesting to see everybody's narrative on that, because like some like
Right.
I mean,
It's a
you're hitting
debate.
close. Yeah, because you're hitting close. You're not wrong. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, like it's a subtle like if you're talking about like films that are subtle nods and precursors to what helped get us to where we are with slasher film, then I think obviously like
Yeah,
Psycho definitely fits the bill.
Oh,
yeah.
But at the
absolutely.
same
Some would
time,
say Psycho is the first slasher film. Some would say Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah,
I mean,
Um,
I
79.
would
You
say
know.
in terms of like, cause see, like this is where you like, okay, so there's like a million different subgenres, and it does make it difficult. Like, especially if you
right.
like me, I feel like I'm nitpicking on this shit. You know what I mean? So it's not like that big of a deal or deal breaker. But I would definitely say, to be fair, it
Different
definitely
film.
leans more into like a psychological thriller for me for Psycho. Um, just because there's a lot more going on there than most would seem to understand and know.
But I
You know, there's a
mean,
lot of people. There's a lot
Hmm.
of people till this day, dude, that still swear up and down it's his mom and they're killing people. Like they don't understand what's really going on, the levels of this shit. You know what I'm saying? That to me is psychological horror. It's a thriller. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
Right.
but
And
a
to
lot
not
of
even not
slashers
even
can
to be
fit into
like
that category too. I
but
mean,
and not
it's
even to get too like because we have to be careful about how graphic we talk about some of these things. But though I believe the word used was it was the p word, but you never actually saw the knife like uh, cut or pierce anything. I'm
right.
trying to be very delicate about how I say this,
But it's
but you know what I'm
also
talking about. Like you don't
Yeah, I
see
know
it
what word
happen.
you're avoiding.
You know what I'm saying? Like you don't see that happen. Whereas I feel like a lot of this, like I said earlier in the text message when we were talking about it, like I'm trying to make it very easy for us to decide about this and not really be stuck up and hung up on like what categorizes and what doesn't. So very simple across the board, very broad, if you will, Bob Ross stroke here, but literally taken by definition, slasher film, right? So anything used to slash, cut, any of that stuff, any of those verbs, you know what I'm saying? Like that it probably, to an extent, with respect to other film, counts as a slasher film. I just think that most of us are thinking like crazed madman, serial killer, vengeful spirit, however you want to describe them, whoever your horror hero is, if they
Hmm.
brandish a weapon to do all of their handiwork, it's probably a slasher movie. Probably. Probably.
Hmm.
I would say one of the key components of slasher films, at least for me, um, is body count.
Yes, I think that's
You know,
absolutely a prerequisite. Like, if you're not stacking bodies, you're probably just a menace. You're not
yeah.
really, you know.
So I mean, and it kind of brings me back to
but
Psycho. I think Psycho is I don't. I'm of the mind that I don't personally believe Psycho was a slasher film. I think Psycho was a granddaddy, a distant relative, and maybe a precursor to slasher, but it didn't cross any line to make it an actual slasher film.
because at the
Whereas,
time,
Texas Chainsaw actually did cross those lines, even though they didn't have a lot of on screen gore, a lot less than what people feel. It's just the way that was filmed, and you had Leatherface in this family that was just stacking bodies throughout the entire film.
Hmm.
The
Oh, for
film was
sure.
the film was all about the unaliving of people.
Right. And I mean, I would expand on that a little bit further just in the way that, like, if we're talking about how close it is, like, we're not being rude to Psycho, right? Like you said, it's the granddaddy. So,
No,
we're in the same ballpark. You know what I mean? And he's not in the nosebleed seats whatsoever. We're talking like, you're probably like, in the locker room with the boys. You know what I'm saying? Like hanging out and shit. Like you're really fucking close. Like they're walking by you thanking you. You know what I mean? Like that's because we're talking about Hitchcock here. Like, it'd be rude to
Mm-hmm.
just glaze over it and not mention it. The man was brilliant, but he was
Pioneer.
also brilliant. Yeah, he was also brilliant in a way that he would tell you stories so that not only is he not really giving you everything, like one of the kings of Slowville, dude. Like, it's gonna build up in a way that not only is
The
unsettling and
master of
unnerving.
suspense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's just really like classic textbook. Like, you know, he's one of the originators for a reason, and it's about how important storytelling is. And if you don't nail that down, then it's going to be a lot like those that try to replicate good slasher film and they come out being hot trash. And it's because you focus too much on the flashy stuff
And you
than
just
the
said it.
actual context of the story.
You just said the words.
What's that?
Said hot trash.
Right, because that's usually the perception of it, right? That's what everybody goes to, like, oh, it's hot trash, la la la. No, what happened was they didn't have a storyline that you really felt invested in because that's what you grew up on, whether you want to admit it or not. And
Right.
so, yeah, you were lost on the fact that there wasn't a good story. Nobody snuggled you up, wrapped you in a little blanket, and was like, okay, here we go, one night. It was dark and stormy night. You know what I mean? Like they did no real work to get you there. So then at that point, you're kind of just like, everything's a wash. You know what I mean? And so it's like that's why I can identify with that sentiment. But I also like to think that's not necessarily what you meant. You just can't identify what it was in there that put you off that you didn't
Right.
like about it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But
No,
I mean,
I
does
think,
body
yeah.
count really matter? I mean,
Absolutely.
honestly,
Oh, yeah.
I think so. In when we're talking specifically about a slasher film, because here's the
Absolutely.
because I
thing:
mean, Halloween's a
there
slasher,
is a
but
difference.
Michael Myers
Even
doesn't have a really high body count in each movie.
yes, he does. What the
Yep.
heck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Over a
He's got-
course of time, he does, but he's really only after his family.
Yo,
everybody who's
have
in
you
the way.
watched the Halloween films?
Yes.
There are always people in the way, dude.
Oh, yeah.
There
That's
are
the caveat.
always people in the way.
Oh
That's the
yeah.
caveat.
Yep.
Like you said
Okay.
it best. You know what I'm saying? He's
He won't
he's
stop
there
at nothing.
to get his family, but exactly, he is relentless. There is nothing to stop him at his end goal.
That's
You know what I'm saying? So like he
well,
will dispatch whatever he needs to get to that goal.
Mm-hmm.
sidebar. Going after his family is subjective as well, because that's not every film is he's going after his family. And in fact, the very first film, that was not intended that Glory was
I can't
actually a family member
remember if it's
of
Halloween
Michael
2 or
Myers.
Halloween 3.
It's
Interesting.
Halloween 2, which John Carpenter didn't want anything to do with, that basically made Glory the family member.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I
which
think he
one?
was just supposed to be like the babysitter, right?
It was
Is
yeah.
that-
The
one was he
original
wearing
title
the-
for Halloween was The Babysitter Murders,
Right.
and it was really about this guy in a mask who was killing babysitters. And it morphed into
What it is
Halloween.
now? Yeah,
Yeah, it being a child.
yeah.
'Cause
What
I
it
do
is
And
now?
then-
remember originally it was supposed to be every iteration of the film. Like obviously they never planned it going this long, but in the beginning,
Right.
after the original one was done, the idea was that every iteration of Halloween film after that was just supposed to be not a weird, but like a one-off Halloween horror tale. But every film was going to be that way, and I think
Halloween 3 was the
uh,
perfect example of what the franchise was supposed to be like.
right,
Mhm.
but it obviously like was well, I mean to some it's a cult classic, to most it's not the best one in the series. Like it's usually like just the
I
black
loved
sheep of the
Halloween
series.
3.
Right.
I did.
Same.
For what it is, Halloween 3 is an amazing film. It's
Right.
just that people can't people have a difficult time, and it happened at the time too. Is they bombed on Halloween 3 because it didn't have Michael Myers, and people wanted Michael Myers.
Yeah, it
Right.
was
And so-
the Pumpkinhead guy, which that
No,
became a whole nother-
Pumpkinhead guy. No, Halloween 3 was about the masks. Silver Shamrock lab with the masks that were set to unalive all the young children at the stroke of midnight.
Yeah, I think I've seen that one once. Yeah.
That music.
Yeah, I think that was like the only thing we got out of part 3 that, like, was definitely like with the franchise canon. You know what I mean?
Tom Atkins was amazing in that movie.
Yeah, I think I saw that movie like once when I was 15.
You need to revisit it.
I probably do.
It's actually
I need
a really, really good movie.
I gotta revisit a lot, dude.
Yeah,
like,
same. I gotta check that one out.
Yeah.
I got so many damn
one.
movies that I'm behind on. I really do want to see Sinners, though. Like that is one that I really want to see.
That's gonna hit. I think that's gonna be hitting video on demand, so digital streaming. I think in June, early June.
So in a couple of weeks.
It should be hitting Max if you have HBO Max. I think the word is that it should be hitting that probably July.
Oh, yeah?
I think so. I'll probably end up just snagging it because I really, 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 really want to see that film.
Yeah, just get the hard copy.
All right, guys. Give me just a few moments. I'll be right back.
All right, no problem. You're good. We got Gator just joined us here in the Discord. Give me one quick second. Make sure we get audio.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I can hear you through this computer. I may have to add an extra speaker here, but we've got everybody else in the chat here. We've got Gator here in the Discord hanging out with us. Just opened up this channel tonight. Super excited about that. Should be working out pretty great. So we can get everybody in on the conversation. Yeah, we're just getting started, so it's definitely a good time to tune in.
In all honesty, I mean,
Hold on 1 second here. I'm not sure why. You're good. You're good. I've just got audio issues.
slasher films have birthed some of the most significant horror film icons.
Yep.
I mean, do you have horror icons that are not in slasher films? Yes. But very rarely do you have that. Because normally when you have a horror icon coming out of something that's not a slasher film, it'd be something like Reagan from The Exorcist, or what was that? Chucky's a slasher film. Yeah, Child's Play is a slasher franchise.
Oh yeah.
Without a doubt, that's a slasher franchise. But like Smile, the Smile Demon from Smile, I wouldn't consider a slasher film.
Yeah, I mean, I figured we'd get into this a little bit. That one, I feel like, I mean, for sure.
It's close, but it's not. Because it's a supernatural. It's a supernatural horror.
Exactly. Yes.
But we can't just discount it because it's supernatural. Because if we discounted the Smile Demon simply on the premise that it's supernatural, we would have to discount Jason, Freddy, Pinhead, Chucky. All of them are supernatural.
Yeah.
Well, actually, Jason post.
Hello.
Jason posts 6. Jason prior to that, okay, but Jason once, we'd have to discount Victor Crowley.
Like Jason Goes to Hell.
Once Jason Lives happens, that's when it happened. That's when Jason became supernatural, a supernatural entity. That's when he became like the zombie.
And see, there's a couple of other ones where it's just like the canon kind of changes a little bit. But yeah, I think Candyman's definitely supernatural. And like I said, that's why I was saying, like, we're definitely gonna have like a whole, like, dude, there's so much potential here. But yeah, we'll definitely have like just a supernatural night where we're gonna get into a lot of different shit, that's definitely one
Right.
that's gonna be on the table. I would highly recommend you guys making a list of like topics that you want to talk about. That way we always have like a kind of a bank to go to. But yeah, I think no, it's definitely a slasher film for sure. It's just that the lore itself is so steeped in supernatural, you know. I think that
I
one
would
teeters on that's supernatural too.
that one teeters, but technically, I could definitely see accepting that as a slasher film. Uh, that's a
I
tough one
can't. I
because
can't. No one, like I said,
because
the individual has to be
the
slashing, cutting, all of this stuff. So, like, that's why
yeah,
it's supernatural. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, there's a lot of slashing and cutting and crushing and
right, but
you
it's
know
not done by any one
logs through
individual. You
heads
know
and
what I
stuff
mean?
like that.
Like, you
You know,
can't make
Incineration.
you can't make an inanimate object. You know what I'm saying? A slasher villain. Like, it's just not. Exactly.
It's
You know
like
what I'm saying? And so,
deconstructed.
right.
like, that's literally what defines slasher film, though, in
So
its
that's
totality.
yeah,
Like,
that would be where my take. Well, yeah, I guess maybe that's because Smile is kind of a because Smile is to me that one there is really hard to kind of classify because could it be considered slasher? Sort of, but at
I
the
think a
same
good way
time,
to
it's kind of a possession film. And
correct,
at the same time,
correct.
it's also kind of a supernatural, just a supernatural horror.
I think it's
It's
best to put like supernatural and spiritual ones all under the same umbrella because they're all from the
Right.
same wheelhouse, right? Whether
And
you're
it's
talking
that's how
about,
they're
you
unique.
know, whether you're talking about a demon, a devil, a ghost, whatever entity, yeah,
a dream demon.
absolutely, absolutely, yeah. So, and that's the thing. Okay, so here we go, here we
Wait,
go.
wait.
Oh
Since
snap!
you brought that up, here's the one guy that I know of right off the top. The well, two technically. Anyways, before I get any further down this fucking rabbit hole, there's two guys, right,
Yeah,
that we need to address because they are definitely one of them for sure. Definitely slasher killer. One of the kings of kings. He should be on the Mount Rushmore. But,
yes.
but technically, his origin is deeply rooted in pressure demons, okay? Those that may not know, Freddy Krueger is definitely a pressure demon, sleep demon, however you want to address it.
The dream demon.
Shadow people, the Hat Man, that's fucking him.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally him. However, he is one of the most famous and synonymous tropes in terms of slasher horror heroes. So, with that being said, I think the other one that definitely fits the category, although it bends the rules just a little bit, no pun intended to him and his character archetype, but the Slender Man, also very much deeply rooted in cryptid, shadow being lore and whatnot. When we're getting to talking about the
The
shadow people on a
difference.
type of you know,
Okay,
different deep dive. Obviously, like I said, it's gonna be for a
I
different
got
night.
I got it. I
But
got
yeah,
the
go ahead,
difference.
go ahead,
I
go
already
go
got the
shoot, shoot,
difference.
shoot.
So the thing is that it's vengeance that brought Freddy Krueger back. Freddy Krueger was an actual human prior to him becoming this entity that's coming back and attack sins of the father type situation,
Very
Yep.
true,
going after
very
the kids
true.
in Elm Street.
However,
Whereas Slender Man is more of an urban legend born of uh, the ether, really.
right, I
Yeah.
Um,
got you.
so that to me, between those two, would be a huge defining difference, which would classify Freddy more as a slasher because he is originally human and has become supernatural. So that's
I'll
why
say this.
Candyman would be.
I'll
That's
say
why
this.
Candyman would be
Can't.
considered a slasher because he was human,
Right.
became
And I'll say
supernatural.
this. I'll say this. You're fair on that, okay? And we'll save it for a different day and a different deep dive. But I will say that also, real quick. I will also say though, to be fair, I mean, it depends on how you tell the story because for the most part, you're not wrong. But it's also about the fact that like where he gets his powers from, and in a lot of ways, in certain films, they really laid it on thick. I think when they were trying to like kind of backtrack off of like I don't know, it was probably like 4 and 5 or so, where they really kind of leaned into the dark humor with Freddy to kind of like
More
Was
campy.
five and
yeah,
six.
it was. Thank you. It was a little more campy than it was serious, and so we kind of walked that back. And the whole Freddy's Dead trope, where they were trying to pull him out and into the real world, and
Yeah,
so that's
that's
where it kind of
six.
just
Yeah.
makes it a little bit difficult. You know what I'm saying when it comes to him, because like the Hat Man and the Shadow People are very much real things that are just as real as he used to be. And I would say that's my only like not argument, but like my only anecdote I will drop off and leave it alone after that. Just the idea of both of them come from places where they used to be people. They're no longer people anymore. Things have changed, and now they fuck with people. So it's just saying.
No.
No. So since you just joined us, I will tell you, Predators out of the mix, Aliens out of the mix. Okay, we're already discussing AVP. We're literally talking about slasher killers, and you have to either slash, stab, cut, any of these things to qualify as a slasher killer. So for me, it's just a no. There are a lot of subcategories here, so we do have to be careful. There will be room to talk about all of them. But yeah, I just don't think that it qualifies. And in order for us to quantify what does qualify, we're looking for, like I said, with being mindful and careful about what I can get in trouble with on Twitch and what we can talk about here, because we're just talking about movies for any Twitch bots that are listening. It's just movies. It's not real people, real life. But yeah, for our horror heroes that we know that go on the Mount Rushmore of slasher horror heroes, beyond the typical archetypes that we look to in, Freddy, Jason, Ghostface, Chucky, any of these guys, what they all have in common is they attack. You know what I mean? And so, like, I think that's one of the biggest things is like, you're talking about a man or a woman that you have to combat
Mhm.
because they physically attack you. You
And
know,
keep going. And keep
So
coming.
I would say that where things can cross the line as far as like supernatural, like a supernatural horror, like similar. I know I keep bringing it up, but like Smile or let's say Sinister, um, you know, versus something like Nightmare on Elm Street, Hellraiser, Child's Play. You know, there is definitely a different tone and a
Hmm.
different uh, medium to those. One is definitely on the slasher side, and one is more on the supernatural horror
so for
or
this
the
so
suspense.
for the sanity of this stream in general, I will go ahead and push the envelope on another term that, ironically, on another note of conspiracy, is very difficult to find online. Although I know that it's used, it's not recognized through AI. I think that's a red flag. But anyways, we're going to coin the term on this stream just to quantify what we're talking about here. Is ultra cryptid. Ultra cryptid is basically it's a cryptid but it's not from this plane, right? So it's debatable that um, Mothman, Sasquatch, Yeti, Nessie, any of these things are ultra cryptids because they come from a possible another dimension on this planet, but a plane that we can't see. And I think the Smile cryptid definitely fits in that
Ooh.
category. I think I
Ooh.
think the Sinister I think the Sinister
Bagul.
I think the Sinister falls into that category.
Well,
And
Bagul was a demon.
I think that might be the only caveat where we
Like
have to be
Babadook.
careful because I want to make sure, with respect to religious-based films, that we keep the demons in with the spiritual horror and thrillers. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Because like, in a way, that's where they belong. So spiritual entities are going to be different from cryptids. Just know that. Like ultra cryptids
right.
are going to be any and all creatures that are from this plane or an alternate plane on Earth that normally you don't like. You get sightings of them. You
It's
know what
like
I'm
more
saying?
Lovecraftian.
Correct. Thank you.
So
Exactly.
that's
Another great
cosmic
example.
horror. That's
Another
different.
great
That's
example.
also a
Yeah.
different
To
subgenre.
be fair,
We're
it
getting
is.
we're
It
going
is.
down a rabbit hole. Let's bring it back. We're talking slashers.
Yeah, it's Robert Paulson. Oh yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's a good
love
one.
that one because it came out at a time where like I don't know, I guess people were just like devoid of knowledge that there's a potential to have great films that come out of other countries. And so yeah, we had like a fistful of films that came from like Australia and the like, and like people were like, "Whoa, what is this?" Like it's a great fucking film, dude. Like they're just
Yeah.
giving you a look into like what they would do. Like everybody's got their own fucking backwoods and shit. You know what I mean? Like that's where some of these films come from. You know? Well, no, literally, I think you hit it on the head because a lot of these folks looking at film from the States, they're like, that's not a scary film. It's a scary film, and it's because we've never really imagined, like, like poor Talon. He kept making reference to banjos. It's like, this guy is really afraid of Deliverance, but Deliverance isn't even a horror film, but it's scary
Yeah,
to a
no.
lot of people. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, get stuck in a fucking trailer park that you've never seen before, and you start hearing fucking banjos. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you'd be scared too.
Yep.
No, they
Hmm.
got fucking water moccasins and fucking gators, bro. Like nobody wants that kind of drama and trouble. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm talking to the person that fucking knows. That's what I'm talking about. Like, you know, Florida gator.
I just watched that again. Fuck yeah. So let me guess, you
Is
bought it.
anyone else getting a large static sound?
We're getting that
Yeah,
static
that's my
fuzz.
bad. Talk them down to 20, and I think you got a deal. You know
Right
what I'm saying? Talk them down to 20, bruh, and then take it. Boom. Well, they're
there, it's
pretty
gone.
G's.
Yeah, man, freaking yeah. Talk him down on Amazon. Send him a message.
Tell them, but like, look,
It's like, yeah, this ain't
bruh.
cutting it.
This shit been on sale for 8 months. I know you want that money.
Slasher.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's it's definitely slasher, dude. Because like, listen, we're
Yep.
just talking again. It gets back to the trope of like, you know, Group A mixes in with Group B. Group A is Type A. Group B is Type Z. And so like, yeah, you're just in the shit now. Like, like
Yeah. So Hills Have Eyes, Wrong Turn, films
Yep.
like that. Those are definitely slasher films.
like the wrong part of town. Do you know what I mean? Is literally all that is. You know what I mean? You got the one guy who goes, down the wrong
Texas
road.
Chainsaw Massacre, perfect example.
And
I mean,
Yep. They
literally,
Texas
got it coming
Chainsaw,
after
Texas
you.
Chainsaw
any of
Massacre,
those,
and Hills Have
any of those,
Eyes.
yeah, no, 100%. Matt's
You ended
right
up in
on
the
about
wrong
this one.
area, wrong time,
Right.
wrong group of
That's
people,
all of
or wrong
those.
person.
Oh yeah, all of those
Hmm.
films. I would venture to say they all took that from the same trope of Chainsaw, where it was just like, you know,
Could be if he was a
Yeah.
villain.
Yeah. If like the people who was killing were like innocent people, they're just like some regular like families and
They
shit.
just went to a beach and John Wick showed up and was like, "You killed my dog."
Yeah. Fucking. I'm getting you. Fucking unstoppable force. She's got the unstoppable force down.
No, that'd be more of a creature feature.
That's the thing we don't know we needed, is like a Gremlin slasher movie.
Critters is closer to a slasher film, but it would
Yeah,
be
that's
more of
fun.
a creature feature as well.
Yeah, definitely creature feature. Even like specific like space, like something from space.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe that's too
fucking
specific.
alien
Yeah.
features.
Yep. Like cosmic, like you were saying, cosmic. Like
Because I mean, like that would be like, okay, then Killer Clowns from Outer Space is a slasher film. No, it's not.
no.
Yeah, let's not be ridiculous, okay?
Yeah.
All right,
It is fucking awesome though. God, that's such a fucking
good
epic
movie.
movie.
Yeah, but all right, did 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 Jay ever make it back? Where the hell did he go?
Jay, you there, Jay?
Right.
I saw tumbleweed roll across the floor.
We were just thinking maybe he had to drop the kids off at the pool or something. You know what I mean?
Ah,
He was
yeah, I
still
know
muted
what
the
you
whole
mean.
time.
Secret
He
code.
probably went to go smoke a cigarette. I don't get those breaks anymore now.
Nice.
Oh, there he is, right there. He just opened the door to his
I'm happy for you.
minivan. I heard the minivan door open just now. That's him.
Yeah.
You gotta shut the door to the
You gotta,
Astro
yeah.
van. You know what I'm saying? I was gonna sit down by the
Yeah.
rail, but I fucking knew it.
Yeah.
You're a hooker. Wait, what?
A pirate hooker. Smelly pirate hooker.
Yarr.
Yar. Lashanti, see?
Oh man, I love good
Anybody play Skull and Bones?
That's a bit fat Negatoro.
Dude, that's fun. Your boat crew starts singing shanties as you're sailing around.
Oh, I've seen it now. Don't get me wrong. I got buddies.
It's
that play this
awesome.
Shit, but I don't, yeah.
I haven't played in forever.
Uh,
Hey. Hey. Specialty.
Oh man, it's my specialty.
Yeah, dude, slasher movies. I've been watching slasher little videos all day at work, like on my breaks.
Bone Tomahawk was a great movie.
Yeah, Bone Tomahawk was awesome.
Great horror film.
Yeah. It's like,
Well, I thought it won.
it's like avenging like
that's
the
definitely
burial grounds.
action adventure. Yeah, Bone Tomahawk. Yeah, that was.
All right,
Movie
I'm
got
back.
brutal at times. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, about time.
Yeah, it was
They're
good.
out there playing banjos.
Good
Yep.
acting.
Ding 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 ding.
Yeah, you know the one.
Now, get the hell out of here, you shitty folk.
Are we doing the list yet or?
Oh,
Haven't
snap.
started yet.
No, we ain't got there yet.
Okay.
Dun dun dun.
Still early. But
Yep.
yeah, we do want to start here pretty soon. I know that
Fuck.
we're subject to go off on tangents.
Yep.
So let's we should probably look at getting to that list sooner than later, so that we can work our way through that and whatever
Yeah.
tangents we end up going on.
Yeah, Michael Myers. Oh yeah.
Talking about Mount
The big
Rushmore
four.
of horror icons.
I don't know if we
Oh,
have time for that.
these horror icons are slasher icons.
Or yeah, slasher icons. Well, to be honest though, most horror icons are slasher icons.
True.
Uh,
Well,
Oh yeah.
if we're doing the top four, you gotta have Michael Myers, Leatherface, um,
Freddy and Jason.
Freddy and Jason. Yeah, you have to
Yeah,
have those
that's it.
four. Like, I
That's the
mean,
top four.
honorable mention would be Pinhead, but I mean that's
Honorable mentions would be Pinhead, Chucky, and Ghostface.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I
Those would
mean,
be honorable mentions, but eh, you'd have to go with,
They each pioneered their own little wave.
well, no, I think that, well, one, we're all getting a little bit old, so there's a lot of nostalgia there, where there might
oh
be
yeah,
somebody that would put Ghostface on there over somebody like Leatherface.
Yeah.
Which I could understand,
Yep.
depending on generationally speaking, like when you first started watching slasher films, and
The
whatnot.
first Scream was epic.
If you start looking at like where some of these tropes came from, like so, the reason you could say that is so synonymous in terms of like what Leatherface brings to the table, right? Like it's not like it's anything new. It's the whole cannibalistic wearing people's faces type shit where like that
Mm-hmm.
seems so odd and crazy. But the fact of the matter is, it's like a lot of that doesn't necessarily go to Ed Gein where a lot of people put it. And I'm not saying that they're wrong. It's just that like there were unfortunately more than just him in terms of like people that actually did this shit. He's
Uh
just the
huh.
name that's most often associated with that. I feel like
Well, the reason,
a lot of the credit needs to go to Toby Hopper because he also did Funhouse, right? So
but
you
I
have to
mean there were
realize he basically is known for putting out that trope of just a part of the world, the underbelly that you've never seen before. Like a majority of his films, especially those two, are about peeling back the flesh of the world that you've never seen before and not realizing this is in the back of your town. It's in every fucking town, and you don't even know it because you're too busy living your pretty little life. But the world is a lot worse off than you think it is, and this is a gritty fucking look at it. This isn't your Sunday morning cartoons. This isn't your Saturday morning cartoons. This isn't the sports world. This isn't hunting man's best. This is the gritty underbelly. And it was back in the 70s, dude, when nobody was showing that shit. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So, like, even
well,
though it
yes,
didn't show much, and that's what made it better because less is more, it tackled a topic in a part of the world that nobody had looked at before. And that has to be celebrated. Like, that's why it's so good. Why that visceral is so terrifying.
But
Because
I
it's a
mean,
part of the world that you don't want to accept it's real, but it is.
there were
right.
Gaelic tribes that were doing this way back in history. I mean, they would literally cut the faces off their enemies and wear them in battle like that. That's what they did.
Yes.
But what
So
does
you-
leather do with this?
let
That's the
me
thing.
let me interject just a little bit here because a lot of the stuff in Chainsaw was directly taken from Gein. I mean, Gein wasn't nearly as much of a serial killer, obviously, as you know as Leatherface, really was. But Gein wore the big things that were drawn from Gein was the cross dressing
Yep.
that Leatherface did, the
Silence of the
wearing of human
Lambs.
flesh, um, and the decorations that were in the house that were bone,
And
that were made
chains.
of human bone. He was more of in grave robbing, but in Chainsaw they don't go with the grave robbing side of things. It's more like this is kind of the victims, and they're just kind of on display now,
Yeah.
and they're part of the furniture.
There's
Yep.
But
also a
I agree with them. And that in and of itself, showing people a glimpse into something like that is like, you don't know crazy yet.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
No, this is with a capital C. Um, so Right.
I mean, this is the
Uh,
underbelly of your city. You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
quite literally is what we're telling you. You know.
Yep. I'd have to disagree.
I would agree. I would agree to disagree with that, because I mean,
Well,
it
I mean, yeah, it's subjective as to
it really is. You
as
know,
to who you would say claim as the number one. There are tons of people that would say Jason is number one. Um, I mean, a lot of people that would say Jason is number one. There are a lot of people that would say Michael is number one. There would be a lot of people that would say Freddy is number one.
and I'm one
Heck,
of those.
there are people that would say
Yep.
Leatherface or Chucky or Ghostface or Candyman or Pinhead. It really is just, it really comes down to, preference. No, I'm just talking about their personal favorite as far as
I mean,
their favorite number one slasher.
and I agree with Matt, but I'll tell you right now. I mean, if you want me to shut this conversation down, I can. The bottom line is, ain't nobody getting past Pinhead. I don't give a good goddamn what you think, how dead or alive you think your horror hero is. You ain't going nowhere till you pass through the fucking gate, son. You feel
Yep,
me?
yep. I agree with that. I agree with that. But I'll be honest with you. My favorite slasher, I have to say
He's
would
not
be
even my
Freddy.
favorite. Not even my
You
favorite, bro.
know,
I'm letting it be known now. Like demon or not, until you pass through the gates, there ain't no way.
the
There ain't no way.
Cenobites, man.
There ain't no way. You know what I'm saying? Cause like these guys, like listen, pain is their thing.
Yep.
That's it. So all this little shit you think you're doing, cutting up people in the real world and shit, ain't nothing to what they do.
I
Nothing.
think, in all honesty,
Nothing.
Freddie would probably be the only one that would give him a possible run for his money.
Yeah, because I mean, he's the dream. He's the dream
Yeah.
slasher. You
Yep.
know.
Right. Jason is just like the like
Well, I mean,
stereotypical.
you literally just levitate Jason and have consistently have hooks, chain hooks coming, tearing them apart,
I
Right,
do
but
like
you
that
know,
So let me
you
newer.
want
on
to
interject.
on
grow,
an
Matt.
endless loop.
Like you
Let
want to
me
talk about it.
interject. We're in AVP or Aliens Fire Team Elite. I am streaming on YouTube as well. Welcome to ITP.
Yo
Um,
yo.
Nem, I don't know if we want to split up the group, how we want to do this, so that, we can get everybody in. Um,
Well,
you know.
we want to go into pathogen at some point.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
So, I mean, we could do two and two, with Van and Matt, the God
I still
Wood.
don't have pathogen. I don't think.
Well, I'm good with not doing pathogen if you want to join up on me, and then
Yeah, that's what game's in.
Nem and Matt.
Yeah, I love those movies.
yeah,
Yeah, I almost would say without the the portrayal of the Wishmaster. I hate that I don't know his name, but if it wasn't for him as playing that part, I don't
He's
think that
literally they never said his name.
he ever.
No, you see,
I
I
mean,
think he's talking about the actor.
yeah, the actor himself.
Oh,
Like, if he
Robert
did,
Davi.
thank you. If he did not play that role, I think the movie would not have been as good. I think he literally made that film.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Now, I do have a serious question. I do have a serious question.
There's the bum that he runs into.
I do have a serious
So
question.
epic.
Would you consider Phantasm a slasher?
Yes.
Fucking A.
Uh, that's tough. Actually, I initially say yes, but
I
I,
mean,
I I love the Phantasm series. I do.
I'll I'll say
And
this. By a little
technically
bit,
speaking, yeah, but it's Phantasm is in its own lane, really.
to be
Like,
honest with you, Sweeney Todd is considered a slasher movie. But
uh,
The
I don't
technically,
think
tone.
I don't think
So,
Talon can hear
doesn't have
himself.
the tone.
I
yeah.
don't think Talon can hear himself. Hold on.
It's the
no,
tone of the movie. It's off with that.
I was looking up slasher horrors, and Sweeney Todd is in there.
Yeah, but that's you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So before we get too far away to answer your or my rebuttal to your Phantasm question, not only is that a good question and a good point, I would say let's just wait for the next film to come out and then we'll be able to know for sure.
There won't be any next film.
There is. That's why I said that. There is.
Nah, they're
Yep.
not. They can't bring back Bannister.
I'm not
Angus
saying they're
Scrimm is
bringing
gone.
anybody. I'm not saying they're bringing anybody back. I'm just saying there's another Phantasm project in the works.
Nice.
Nice.
I'll have to research on that because I'm a big fan of the franchise.
Right,
I'll tell
right,
you
right.
what. Uh, Mama Gator. Since you're only here for a little while, let's go ahead and do your list.
Yeah.
Hey, man, you do what you want, man. Right now, you running extracurricular right now. This is literally going to be like for a whole nother day because that's how big this question is. But go for it.
Right.
Right. Yeah, because it's how they kill him.
Last,
All right. So let's. So top three slasher films. Your personal favorites growing up. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Top three greatest of all times.
I I don't think that Silence of the Lambs is a slasher film.
That's more of a psychological
It's a
thriller.
horror. I would classify it as a horror, which some people would even argue whether or not it's even a horror, but I definitely consider it a horror.
Oh,
But I
why did
wouldn't
fan
consider
leave?
it a slasher film. It's more of a psychological horror, suspense.
Oh, it looks like fan left.
Okay.
Yeah, as one of the greatest of all time. Okay, well then we're talking about greatest of all time. So you got Halloween,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
got Texas Chainsaw. Okay, that's a slasher
It's a
film.
slasher.
Okay, so Hellraiser.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, those are the three greatest of all time.
The three best new films you've seen recently.
Slasher films.
Slashers.
Yeah,
I haven't seen that one yet, and it's one of my wife's favorites, so I'm gonna have to check that out.
that's a really good movie.
They did a good job. They really did. I was scared that they were gonna fuck it up.
Well, the fact of the matter is that you know when you have a Candyman film does not feature Tony Todd,
Right.
it's like immediately you're kind of looking at it side-eyed, going, ah. It's like, how are they going to make this work? And they absolutely did. And they even tied it to the original film.
Hmm.
So it's amazing. Yeah, it was a great movie.
All right.
Oh yeah. Yeah, good choice. Good choice. Yeah, really good movie.
I haven't seen that one.
Oh man, yes, I love the Ty West trilogy. Sinister was a great movie. I don't know that I would necessarily say it was a slasher because it was a demon.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Sinister was an awesome movie, though. Not gonna
it's an
lie.
awesome movie. Serial killer element.
Now that is a fairly new movie that I have seen was Sinister. I did like that.
Sinister was genuinely creepy, in my opinion. Right.
I know. I need to watch that. I need to. There's a couple like franchises that have been out that I haven't seen.
Oh, you haven't watched Sinister? Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
All right. So, yeah, those are your favorite three recently seen. So, favorite scene from the films that you just listed, and it can be any of those films that you just listed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The first one.
Now you're talking about the
Oh, the new
that
one.
one.
The new one, 2012.
Yeah. It's yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Damn. Okay.
Fucking A.
Got to
Yeah, I
rewatch
liked
that
it a
movie.
lot. I saw it a few times. I kept going back to it, watching the movie. Yeah, 'cause that's Jordan Peele, right?
Jordan Peele produced.
Yeah. Okay. Produced. Yeah. Right. Right. Nice payoff.
419134. No, it's 9134. Sorry. Keep in mind, it could be any of the movies that we talked about previously.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be specifically the movie. It could be from the greatest of all time. It could be from your personal favorites. Uh,
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
Yes, indeed. Oof. Mhm. For real.
I mean, I would definitely agree with that sentiment, but I would also say keep in mind that, even if he's like a reformed uh, personnel. Like he used to be involved with the prison or whatever. Like the narrative from Trejo has always been I die in every film because kids have to learn it never pays to be the bad guy. You know what I mean? So I think he very much was still in his wheelhouse. It's just that level of humanity that you're talking about. But at the same time, it's the juxtaposition between the fact that like you're trying to rationalize humanity with something who's lost his humanity a long time ago.
Like when it all changes.
Yep.
Yep. That's a good one. That is a good one.
Yeah, the first appearance of some weight.
Yeah, Hellraiser's so good.
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up because a lot of people don't realize that original Candyman is Clive Barker's story.
Yep, called the Forbidden. In the Books of Blood.
Yep.
Great
That's
story.
awesome.
Well, Clive
The
Barker's
Books of
a
Blood.
Clive Barker's a freaking genius anyway. So you know.
Well, yeah, Candyman and Hellraiser were both birthed from his mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know who else outdo that shit don't matter.
All right. So now your top three best practical effects overall, and
Films that
then
had the best practical effects.
that's the last category.
Yes.
Well, that's the topic tonight.
The
I mean.
topic.
Yep. Right, yeah, the thing, for
Nope,
sure.
that doesn't count.
They're definitely kings of the special effects.
Practical effects. Not just special effects. Practical.
Right?
Specific. With skinless bodies, yeah.
Yeah, how he comes up out of
Yeah.
the ground.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fire scene when he's on fire. Yeah.
Yeah,
Epic
that was good.
kills. Yeah, had epic kills in that one.
They really did. It was.
Or unaliving, should I say?
Oh. Oh, crap,
Ooh,
Mm.
that was one I saw on some lists.
which one?
Evil Dead.
Yeah, that wouldn't be considered a slasher film.
No, that would be more of like
Sentry set up.
the demon thing, right?
Undead.
Undead. Yeah, like yeah, undead for sure.
Sentry
There's like
deployed.
zombie, and then there's undead.
Jeepers Creepers, I would consider a slasher.
I would consider a slasher.
Me too.
Especially since he
I
uses
actually really like the first one in the theaters.
freaking scythe.
That's the only good one,
that
yeah.
I'm of the opinion he's a cryptid because, like, listen, he's got to eat to fucking, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like,
Well,
listen.
yeah, that's
Might be a
true,
cryptid
but
from
I
a
would
movie.
still consider it a slasher.
This is kind of how we were getting off topic before, but I want to bring out the point that, like, even though whatever the being or creature or whatever may be killing things like is human, that doesn't humanize it, right? Like, just because he's like swinging a sword in one of the Jeepers Creepers movie doesn't mean you can necessarily walk up to him and be like, hey man, can you not kill me? Is that cool? Because, like, no, he's still gonna, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's there to hunt, dude. He only gets 23 days, and in none of those days is he going to be rationalizing with you his humanity.
Yeah. But then again, neither is any of the slashers, you know? I mean...
I thought about that, but that's definitely a slasher, just because, like, you know, he's the one still, like, even though it's on them to get out of it, he still very much sets you up and puts you in it. And that's very much the embodiment of what the slashers are. Like, they're going to enter, like, even if it's rushed and it's because you're running upstairs when you're just running downstairs and out the front door, like, they're still putting you in that environment. So it's still very much slasher territory.
And Carrie always was great in that fucking movie.
Waiting for you.
I mean, Halloween's got a bunch of good practical effects.
Wow.
Halloween's got a bunch of practical effects.
Station went very differently. Sorry. Have you seen
Gotta
a
go
gray
with it.
striped xenomorph? Striped? No. Have you been down to the surface? Did you make any arrests?
We can't discuss operations on an open channel, Doc.
Right.
Catching up.
Yes. They're getting creative.
Right, it's here.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate
You
you
too.
You
coming
as
by.
well. Take care.
Thank you, Gator.
Peace.
Yep. Have a great night.
Later, Gator.
Yeah. Later, Gator. Peace. Slashers. Talking
All right,
about
so
slashers.
who wants to go next with their list?
Ooh, not me.
Anybody but me. I'm busy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Trying not to leave Matt in the shit over here.
I'm hurting.
Yeah, I think we're all playing right now, so.
Where are they at?
There's a cache over this way.
Wish you could jump over the railing.
Yeah, I know. That'd be nice. Yeah, left side, there's a hidden cache right here. Where I am.
Nice. Sentry gun, compact flash hider. Look around.
All right, let's move.
Yeah, dude. Freaking slashers, man. So good.
Right.
As long as you ask the question slow, I can go next. Took me to answer like really quick either. We're doing pathogen.
Ah,
Nice.
y'all doing pathogen? We're. I'm trying to get I'm trying to get fanboy caught up.
Sensor gun.
Oh shit! Where the fuck did you come from? All right,
Oh, shit.
I got him.
Nice.
I got a burster behind me. Another burster incoming.
Oh,
God damn!
you.
They're coming from everywhere.
Knowledge.
I had to reload.
Exploding Xenos.
I got lit up.
Just beats everything.
Oh, come here.
They still died to bullets, Doc. Marines, cut the door.
Let me see.
Heal? Should I heal you?
Nope, nope. Don't heal me. Don't heal me. Just stand in this circle.
Nice. This is like apropos for me to take a drink of wine right now. Ah. Bottle of
All right.
intrinsic. I'm leveled. I'm healed. You
All
have
right.
healed me, good sir.
Yes, sir.
Got a mechanical failure in the door.
Oh, fuck you, dude.
All right, so
Cut that
Matt.
door, dude. He's cutting the door.
Oh, the spitter.
Open the
That's what she said.
Open the door.
All right, I'm through the door. Matt. Top 3 personal favorites growing up.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
That's
Part
number 1.
3. Part 3. Dream Warriors.
Hell yeah, that's such a good
Yes.
One of my
Yes.
personal favorites.
Yes.
Such a good
Also, Candyman.
Okay.
Original Candyman.
Tony
My personal
Todd.
favorites growing up.
Can't go bad with Tony Todd.
Really loved that movie.
one. Yeah, R.I.P. man. What a great actor. He's did a really good job in that.
Oh. And then I would say the Halloween 4 and 5 combination.
Yes.
Kind of the
Yes.
Jamie Lloyd
Arc.
with Danielle Harris. I really, I know some people knock those. I found them to be fantastic.
I loved him.
And I think that having Michael going after young child
That's really what
just
started it
kind
all
of
for me. That was my first
amped
experience.
it amped the terror for me. Your area, Lord, I'm gonna end up going down. I feel.
Yeah, that's what Halloween I started on, was 4 and 5. And
Well,
then
we got
I
a
ended up going back to the
Praetorian.
first one.
Yep.
And a warrior.
Yeah, he's fucking me up right now.
Yep. Better get you up. Made it through
Ammo
that.
drop.
I don't even know
Ammo
how we
drop.
made it through that. I got a little hairy there for a second.
Yeah, for sure. That shit wasn't no joke.
Another demo charge.
No valve in here. Let's go to the
You
next
should
one.
heal if you can. Whoa! Hello, stream of.
Yeah.
Not
Whoa,
seeing
yeah.
that valve.
Can y'all hear me okay?
Yes.
Hell yeah.
All right.
Don't worry.
Going back?
Yeah, we're looking for the valve.
All right.
Oh.
And yes, Nightmare 3 is probably not probably, that is my favorite of them.
Okay.
Nice. Yeah, Dream Warriors, man, with the wizard in the wheelchair.
Yeah.
I just
Freaking
had
love
a
those
lot of really
characters.
In my dreams,
characters
I'm
are
bad
so
and
good.
I'm beautiful.
Well,
Yeah.
in my dreams, I'm beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I just think that, Kruger was so terrifying, and it was almost like, it almost felt like was going up against Kruger, like if Kruger invaded your dreams, it basically like a hopeless venture, and 3 really kind of gave you the feeling of hope that you could fight back.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
But it also is the first one where
Great. Now your lungs won't freeze on the way in.
kind of leads in,
In theory.
starts leaning in a little bit to the one-liners, which made him more entertaining.
Yeah.
Where it was like he was having fun with his prey.
It's already getting red hot in there.
Right.
Fast fire.
The campy moments, or it'd get funny.
Yeah, I wouldn't call him campy, but difference between being campy and being funny.
Yeah, I suppose you're right.
But
I mean, it wasn't lost on them at the time. I mean, even Robert Englund has gone on record as saying that, like, there was a point where he started to notice in the script writing that, like,
Catching up.
we're leaning more towards the humor than we are,
yeah,
anything else.
Hey, kids here.
Yeah.
wait. We might want to. I just have electric.
All right, let's move.
This.
All right. So Matt, top 3 of all time. Your goats.
That's easy. The original Nightmare on Elm Street,
Hear that?
Texas Chainsaw
Hell yeah.
Massacre, the original Halloween. Those are the goats. Those are the granddaddies.
I can see that.
Slasher.
Yeah, I can see that.
I hear something big, I think.
All right. Top 3 of the best new films that you've seen recently.
This one's going to take me a little while because we are in the midst of quite the little drum.
We got a little practice right now.
Yeah, and there's big dudes coming at us. Another big guy.
Yeah, we got a pretty big swarm on our ass too.
We're dealing with crushers and warriors that are coming back to back. wouldn't be surprised if the next thing we see is a Praetorian coming.
Which would be perfect because I'm out of ammo,
Well, there's the ammo box right there.
Yeah, I got it.
But this spitter got to go.
Sorry. Again,
All right, we're clear.
All right, where's the ammo box?
Right.
Oh, damn. 2 crushers.
Oh,
Dude.
shit.
Wesley Crushers?
Might as well be.
I rewired the locks to the server core.
Okay, we desperately need some ammo here.
Where'd that go?
Right?
Holy crap.
Sheesh.
Made it through it. You are.
Get into those
Here we go,
favorite
here we
scenes.
go.
So what, actually?
Ammo box is right here.
Where?
In the next room.
Nice.
Holy cow. That was something.
Yeah, do they have health anywhere? Did I see that?
No, you already picked it up.
Okay.
Yeah, we just used the one that we just picked up.
Shit, coming from
But
the left.
fortunate thing is we're right at the end.
Okay, cool.
Oof. All right, next question. Oh,
All
wait,
right.
no, I haven't even.
Best new film that you've seen recently.
Most recent, right? Best most recent slasher films that I've seen. Terrifier 3 would definitely be on that list as one of the best, most recent slasher films that I've seen. I think that when at first viewing, I really didn't care for the original Terrifier. I thought it was hyped. I thought Art the Clown was it was very generic. And I was like, this is just gore for gore's sake. Terrifier 2 actually made me fall in love with that franchise. And after watching Terrifier 2, I went back and rewatched the original Terrifier. And I was like, okay, I get it. I'm bought in. Terrifier 2 really, because Terrifier 1, it was kind of like, this didn't really have much of a story so much as it was just kind of like, let's see how gory we can be. Which, cool, but I wanted a little bit more. And in Terrifier 2, they had a little more substance than the original film, and they kind of they started going into a little bit more of the lore of Art, and I was like, okay, all right, I'm starting to dig this. So I went back and watched the first one and really enjoyed it. And Terrifier 3 was pretty damn amazing. So. Second would be, this is going to be an oddball one, but I actually really thoroughly enjoyed it, was Fear Street 1978, the Netflix original. It was very much set in kind of like the 1970s, well, obviously 1978, but it definitely had that late 70s, early 80s slasher vibe to the film, which I really, really enjoyed. I enjoyed all of the Fear Street films. I thought that they were really well done. That one just really stood out as really just a fantastic slasher film that not only kind of did its own thing, but really paid great homage to the great slasher films of that era.
You may want to heal up and grab one of these med kits.
And then See here, and last but not least,
Be ready.
think here. Uh, I'm not sure from the other movie. I mean, I did really enjoy. Wow, see,
Sentry active.
I know what I put on my little pre-made list here, but and I think I'm going to stick with it. It was the Netflix original Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, with the bus
I
scene.
I really enjoyed that. I thought it was well done. It does have its flaws, but overall, I found it to be an extremely enjoyable addition to the franchise. Really upset that it's not available out there to purchase because I would love to own it, but uh, you know, thus is life when it comes to the original films. I shouldn't be surprised because can't go out and buy Prey or the Hellraiser that were done on Hulu either. So it's a way to keep people subscribed to their services just to
Oh
watch
yeah.
that original film that they made whenever you want to watch it again. So those would be my top three of the most recent slasher films that I've seen.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. All right. So favorite scene from the films that you just listed?
Okay, so listed above, really gonna go with kind of more of my personal favorites as far as my favorite scenes. With one little honorable mention in there as well because it is a scene that was really really memorable. But my number one would be from Nightmare 3. It's something that became part of the lexicon, actually, of the time. It's when the character stays up a little too late to watch the soap or to watch the late night TV, and it's the first time that you see Freddy become a TV set. With with the rabbit ears is almost like antenna coming off his head.
Yup.
Arms burst out, grab her, pick her up. He says, "This is it, Tina. Your big break in TV. Welcome to prime time, bitch." Yeah, it's
Hell
just
yeah.
that's classic. I just absolutely love that scene. Um, extremely memorable scene. The next scene would be the first time that you see Candyman, that you really see him in the carport when Helen is going out to her car, and you hear Tony Todd's voice for the first time as Candyman is really introduced, and he says to her, "Be my victim." It's just like, wow, okay. This there was not only was it his voice and his presence, but kind of the longing that was in that line and how it was delivered. It just made it extremely extremely memorable. And the last one is going to be from if I'm not mistaken, this was in Halloween 5. It might have been 4. I can't really recall. As strange as that it is, because I view them both as kind of one continuing movie. So, oh, it was in 4 actually. Now that I really think about it, because Jamie Lloyd and her older adopted sister are they're holding up from Michael. They have police outside. It's a police officer outside. They have a police officer stationed inside the house, and um, the older sister and her boyfriend are, well, boyfriend in quotation marks, because there's all sorts of issues going on there. If you've seen the films, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
And they're in the house,
Hey, fam,
and
come this way.
Loomis and the sheriff are out on the streets looking for Michael,
Check to see what you
and
can get here.
it's the first time that you realize that Michael's in the house already. The police, both the police that were there to protect them, have been dispatched, and the kind of the dread that is really evident when you realize that Michael's already in the house,
Yeah.
and he's like, the lines of protection have been pretty much, he's broke through the wall. So he's right there.
And nobody
Now,
realizes
my honorable
it. Like,
mention, especially since we just brought it up, was the bus scene in the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That was craziness. Yeah, that was
So good.
extremely fun, and it poked at it poked at kind of the modern culture where we've got to film everything. So I thought that just the whole concept of that, of really putting Leatherface in modern time, really, in a very, very modern situation, kind of maybe even a little over exaggeration, obviously, but man, that was quite a scene. That was quite a scene.
Yeah.
okay.
I'll
All
agree
right.
with that.
So top
Yeah, I would
three,
recommend watching that if you haven't seen it.
top three best practical effects.
Best
Overall.
practical effects. Again, I'm going to go with Nightmare 3 because, one, they didn't really have a lot of CGI back then. They did use some camera tricks, but with the snake monster,
Yup.
Hell yeah.
with a lot of the, with the TV,
For real.
when he became the TV,
The needle hands.
huh?
The needle hands.
Yeah, the needles for hands, the sucking wounds,
The puppet
there was a
master.
lot of
Like, there was a
very,
lot of really good effects in that one.
yep. The next one that I would go with is Hatchet.
I need to see this.
I have not seen that one yet.
Hatchet had some great, some really great practical effects. I mean, you want to talk about some dismemberment and stuff like that looked pretty legit. The Hatchet has a lot. I mean, that's just a fantastic movie. But I would say the crown has to go to the Terrifier trilogy, because when it comes to practical effects and gore, man, those are hard to beat.
Right.
Haven't
Those
seen
are
it.
really hard to beat. I mean,
I hate to say it, but I haven't seen it.
think of the most gruesome kill that Jason has done and amplify it.
Huh.
It's,
Okay.
Art the Clown goes pretty hard. I mean, again, like I said, the first time I watched the movie, I was like, oh, this is just gore for gore's sake. It kind of, to me, the first time I watched it, I was like, this is kind of like a Hostel, where it's just you're trying to gross me out.
That was good, though. I liked Hostel.
It's funny that people make that reference about the film. Like, for starters, one quick tidbit. Even though his name is Art the Clown, he's a mime. Number one. Number
Yes.
two, he okay. So people have all this rhetoric about this film, like they forgot what practical effects are, and they didn't realize that like that's what Damien Leone is known for, and he's the fucking king
Yeah.
right now because he had the best teachers. Obviously, we grew up on them all, but that's where he took really good fucking notes. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
anyways, in a world where nobody's doing real practical effects anymore, he's a
Ooh.
fucking rock star, dude. So, like,
Yeah.
he's literally like our generation's Tom Savini. Like, he's learned from the fucking best, and now he's about to
Okay.
put on a fucking show. He's putting on a
Oh yeah.
clinic, dude. He's putting on a clinic. Bottom line.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. Agreed.
How many
Well, and
Terrifiers
what
are
I
there?
was
3?
really kind of getting at is like the first time I watched it is that's what I was kind of just thinking. I was like, this is just trying to gross me out. Uh, After watching the second one, I was like, okay, I get it. It's like
Right.
this is the window dressing. Now I've got a more of a story and more of a lore going on, so I felt a lot more invested. And then I went back and I watched the original Terrifier, and I was like, okay, I get what this is. I get what this is.
Yeah.
Um, it wasn't what how I initially felt after going back and viewing it after seeing the second one. So I do. I love all three of them now, including the first one. But man, yeah, you're 100% right. Right now, he's king of practical effects because shoot, if you, yeah,
I mean, they try, but ain't
yeah,
nobody touching that with
that's
a 10
enough.
foot
So
pole
that's
right
kind of
now,
enough
dude.
said. I mean, those movies' practical effects are just nuts. Very, very good. So those are my top three.
Okay. Who would like to go
And and
next?
and yes, I kind of cheated by putting the Terrifier trilogy together. Care
Nice.
No, I think
because it
that's what
could
we're
be any
allowed to
one of them.
have. We're allowed to take our liberties. You know what I'm saying? There'll be plenty
Yeah.
of moments like that where it's just like, listen, we're sticking to it. You know what I mean? I think it's just
Yeah.
important that we not get too far off the rails because there's going to be plenty of time for us to be able to talk about these other moments. You know what I mean? I would
Yes.
say if there's a hot button issue for you and you felt like it deserved to be talked about, just write it down because they're probably going to make it its own category down the road. I'm pretty sure.
Yep. Yep.
Like
Yep.
there are that many subgenres. Like I think that's like the best part about it is like I said
Yeah.
before, and I'll say it again. There's no wrong answer. It's just about what is topic specific at the moment. Because like I said, we could be on a
Right.
tangent and talk forever about all of
Look,
this stuff.
we could be
Oh,
on for like
absolutely.
days talking about this.
Exactly, and that's kind of why it's important to stick to the outline. It's not any one individual, myself included, trying to be an asshole about it. It's just like if we're not sticklers though, then like that's when we're
Yep.
gonna start getting into that territory where like the conversation is muddled, and it's gonna be hard to follow because it's like who knows what the fuck we're talking about? Like we're just rambling on about horror film now, which is totally loved. It's something we've all done. It's just with this format we're trying to stick it a little bit closer.
Yep.
Closer
So
topic,
that's it for me. So I don't know who's next, but I need to go use the restroom. So I will be right back.
All right.
That facilities break, no problem. We're good.
Who would like to go next?
Who's left? I know it's me for sure.
Yeah, so it's you, me, and Fan.
Okay.
Dun dun.
So Fan, you want to go next, man?
Yeah,
Sure,
in
I'll
my
go next.
opinion, you guys are the guests, so by all means, you guys can fight over it. Here's a sharp stick. You
Well,
guys decide.
here's the thing. I mean, I'm streaming too, so you know.
You mind if I wait till my brother gets back?
Absolutely, dude. No rush at all. Take your time. I
Not
know what I'm
at
about to do.
all. I mean, if you
Cool,
want to
like,
go
I
ahead
mean,
and start the
I can
next
talk
one.
about honorable mentions and stuff.
All right, so that's the thing, man. Upon like revising this list, I'm probably gonna have to drop out maybe another question or two, and instead put in because it comes up so much.
Honorable
Um,
mentions.
yeah, honorable mentions and I mean, I feel like it's gonna like garner its own conversation down the road. So we'll hit pause on this next one I'm gonna suggest, but it's possible that it could find its way into the pop quiz, depending, on how relevant it is. But the Mount Rushmore, you know what I mean? It kind of just
Yeah.
depends. Like, I plan on doing deep dives on not just horror film, but like cryptids, government conspiracies, all that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like
you
we'll get
want
into all
you
of
want to go
those.
deep.
we're getting into all like that's why we're doing the deep dives, dude. Because like you have to understand, like you guys know me, right? But for those that don't know and they're just tuning in now, literally all of this is a small microcosm of what you get in the Discord. It's why it's important to become a part of the community. So not only do you get to know about everything new that we're doing, all the content that's coming out, or what's going to be coming out, or at least get notifications about when we're going live and what we're doing, so you can be in on the conversation or just in on the vibe in general. It gives you a chance to get that much more included in involved in the process of what we're doing here.
Yeah.
So those that don't know, for the first 10, 15 minutes or so, Gator was in the Discord chat. You know what I mean? And she was trying to figure out a way to kind of get in there and put her 2 cents in, and we'll work out audio. We'll make sure and iron it out so that everybody can kind of be able to join in and whatnot. But yeah, man, it's just going to be one of those things where we're opening up the conversation for everybody, man. And the more input we can get, the better off it's going to be.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So you bet, Matt?
I am.
All right.
Nice.
So,
All right, cool.
Fan.
I'll go ahead and go. I'll do my list. All right, top 3 from when I grew up. My personal favorites. My personal favorites. All right. Number 1, Nightmare on Elm Street, the first one.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Like that shit hit me different. Like it hit me different. I saw that at a real young age. Like
Johnny Depp's
super
first.
young. Yeah. Johnny Depp's first movie. Man, so many good practical effects in that. Well, we'll get to that. But yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street number 1 from 1984 for number 1. So that's my number 1 movie overall anyway. It's way up there. It hits all the marks. Number 2 is Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, because that's like the first one I saw. That's what got me into the Halloween situation. Like I watched the first one, and definitely it's like the GOAT of that series, hands down, because it's the first one. But I watched it later on, so it really hit me different, the Halloween 4. And the experience I got from it, watching it as a kid, because it's a lot different, like when you're watching a movie as an adult, and like what you get out of it versus like looking back at like how you were affected as a kid. It's like, just like the next one, number 3 is Friday the 13th, the final chapter. It's also the first one of that series that I watched. And that got me into like looking at all of the other ones. I didn't watch it from the beginning because, of course, I wasn't like born yet, basically.
I got
it's like so. Friday the 13th with the one with Crispin Glover, where he does that crazy dance. He's all like swinging around and doing these crazy movements, like like a psycho dude. Yeah, all the stuff in that movie, like
Yeah, no one knew what he was going to be doing on that. I don't even think he knew.
Right.
For real, he was out of his mind.
But then again, we are talking about
The
Crispin
weirdest
Glover,
dance
too.
ever been put on film.
I mean, again, we are talking about Crispin Glover. I mean,
Yeah.
he's just a
we're
weird
getting
dude to
off
begin
topic
with.
now.
So that's my number 3, my personal favorites. Because all 3 of those are my top 3 of the movies. My GOATs. Halloween, number 1. Number 2 is Nightmare on Elm Street. Number 3 is Friday the 13th. Now,
The original
the original, the first Friday the 13th, that set it all up. Even though it wasn't like the formula from what it like really came into, like the second one and the third one is where it really was like Jason doing the stuff. Because on the first one it was his mom.
Right.
So it's like, but it's seriously, it's the originator of the series. So like that's where it deserves its spot as the GOAT. Because you wouldn't get those other number 2 and number 3, and even like all the way up to wherever it ended. So many
But at the
sequels
same
later.
time, the first one really did set up the lore of Jason. So there
Yep.
was that.
Yeah, it did set up the lore and like understanding like why like it's like the other movies like you watch it and you're just like you're not really watching it from like a compassionate standpoint towards Jason, whereas like the first one like you're like dang like you felt bad for Jason, you know? And I feel like that's kind of the one I like where you're kind of like it's like the Halloween or the slasher movie is like the killer's like the champion in a
Hmm.
way. You know what I mean? Does that make any sense?
Oh
Hey,
yeah, no, absolutely.
yeah, I mean, Rob Zombie actually did something like that, but
Because like especially with like where you like have a backstory like Jason's backstory, where it's like you kind of like okay, like he's getting his revenge. You know what I mean? But it's like still you can't like justify that kind of like behavior, but in a horror movie.
No, I mean you
Well,
can't, but
see,
like
the
let's look at it though, right? So he's actually one of the very few, even though he's a malevolent spirit, like he didn't do anything wrong. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he's actually one of the only horror hero icons that's actually like a victim. You know what I mean? And so now he's getting revenge for the it's tough, okay? Because like obviously the murder of his mother. But it's slippery because like the murder of his mother literally happened because she was knocking up other people for her son dying. You know, being obviously he drowned
Yeah.
unsupervised. So while it was an accident, she ultimately holds all of them responsible to the degree that now they gotta die.
yeah,
You know, and because they unalived, or one person in particular unalived her, and he
Yep.
witnessed that. Now because he's got his own torment and he can't rest until
Yep.
his mother has been avenged.
His
And so like
purpose.
this is the the, I wouldn't say spiral, but yeah, like this is the modus operandi, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It
Which is
really is.
inherently tragic. I mean, you think about it, like he's literally just getting retribution for wrongdoings, just like his mother did. And that's not to say that like that's like the right course of action to take, obviously, but
It's the animal
right.
course.
And
You
be
know,
that
it's
as
the
it
one
may, it's
that you
like
kind of can relate to.
so how similar, even though they're similar, how dissimilar is that between him and Jason? You know what I mean? Because I was gonna say the only other untapped potential in terms of like death battle that we haven't seen yet in cinema would absolutely have to be Michael Myers versus Jason Voorhees. Like, you know,
Right?
you
That
got
would be
two
sick.
you got two revenant spirits that are like just destined to destroy. So it's like how would that play out? Because like clearly Mikey had some issues and was already sent away before we even get to part one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yep.
Like that's another thing people don't really realize. It's like in the first film when he comes back, guess where he's coming from? You know what I'm saying? Like my man just got out.
well,
You know.
he had killed his sister when really young, and
Well, that's
no
my
one knows
point
why.
though. Is like he's already there's already something not quite right with him. So like he's fresh out
Right,
when he does all this shit. You know what I mean? So that's the
right.
one stark contrast and difference I would say in the horror heroes is that like by definition, even though we say that in jest, the hero part. I mean, arguably, Jason quite possibly might actually be the only legit horror hero.
yeah.
Right, where there's explainable reason, where it's like
Right. Like,
Halloween,
I
there's
mean,
no
granted,
explainable reason.
like the
You're just like, why is
Deadpool
he
kind
doing
of
this? What the hell?
anti-hero. Yeah, he's like the Deadpool kind of anti-hero, but very much an anti-hero.
Right. So that's my goats, is the Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, and Friday the 13th. And then we got my new ones. Now, these are ones that are new to me. I haven't
Right.
seen a lot of the, like, there's so many really good movies that I haven't
Right.
seen, like Hatchet and the Terrifier series, and,
Smile.
there's plenty more, And so I'm going to list the ones that have really affected me in the last few decades, I would say. It was the Netflix Chainsaw Massacre. They did. That's the number one on my new. Then we got number 2 is Rob Zombie's Halloween. I put that on there.
Nice.
Because, yeah, dude, all of that movie is great. Yeah, I really enjoyed, like, all of the song choices, all of the set design, like, everything to that movie, like, the set piece, like, the whole, like, set in the 70s, like, it was a period piece. Like, it was nice. And then for number 3 was the modern Friday the 13th, the 2009 one, where they had him in underground, and he had this series of tunnels, and it kind of explained like this way of him getting around and like popping up out of nowhere. They kind of explained that sort of thing, where he had these series of bells and these little things that like triggered when people would walk by.
Yeah,
and
the
he
fishing
like
line set up.
yeah, he'd be down there sharpening his machete, and like he'd be hunting with his bow. He like got somebody in the face on a boat with a bow.
Right.
Dude, like that was, I really liked that one. That was when I was just buying DVDs habitually, and I like picked that one up,
No,
and
it's
I
a
was
great
pleasantly
one.
surprised.
I've got the killer cut to that one. It's really good.
Same. Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah, really,
The killer
really good.
cut.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
And,
fucking epic.
Fun fact, that is actually a Michael Bay film.
Really?
Yes, it is.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
He didn't do
Wow.
any horror films.
Platinum
That's one of
Dunes.
them.
That's wild. I didn't know that was Michael Bay.
Yep.
Michael Bay did a Friday the
Yeah,
13th.
isn't it Platinum Dunes?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
Which actually explains your arrow kill that you thought was pretty crazy, because like that's
Yeah.
a Michael Bay thing. Like just bombastic kills for no fucking reason.
Nice, yep,
Like,
yep.
The man ain't never lifted a bow in his goddamn life. Maybe a spear or a shovel, definitely a machete, but not never a fucking bow. You know what I'm saying?
I think there is an explosion
but it's
too.
Cool. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, so it's cool to like see it happen, but it's also typical Michael Bay. Like, you know,
Yeah.
like it would have been out of pocket and out of place as fuck. But I guarantee you, if fucking what's his name, fucking back in the day, fucking John Woo, if he'd have done it, there'd have been a fucking pigeon in a movie somewhere, like flying around fucking Jason. You know what I'm saying? Like, I promise you, it'd just been one of those things where it's like it's his thing and he does it, and it's okay that he did it because like it's him. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah,
like,
you
you
recognize.
got crazy fucking kills and explosions and shit in a Friday the
Signature.
13th film. Yeah, like exactly.
It's a signature, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a signature.
But to be fair, it was kind of before that was his thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was a lesser known Michael Bay trope, but definitely one of his tropes.
Hell yeah. Well, that's awesome. I didn't know that. Alright, favorite scenes. Alright, so the number 1 scene is from Nightmare on Elm Street 1. It's right at the beginning of the movie. And it's Tina when she gets unalived. And like there's like a spot where she's like struggling in her sleep, and Rod notices, he wakes up, and he's like, "Oh, Nancy," or Tina. He says Tina because it's not Nancy, of course. He's like, "Tina," and she doesn't wake up, and her shirt opens up, and you see the slice marks happen. Then fucking she winds up on the wall.
Right.
She's up the wall on the ceiling.
Yeah.
Like, it's just one of those scenes where, like, how are they doing this? This is straight
not
up,
only
like,
that, but,
movie
like, yeah,
magic.
That was, well, not only that, but I think that was definitely one of those first kills that he had in those films where it really pushed the envelope of him, like,
Yeah.
getting you while you're in your sleep. And just, like
Yes.
you said, it made you ask so many questions, like, how did they do that shit? Like, it was really, like, unnerving to watch that.
Yeah. It really was. It was right at the beginning, set the stage for the whole movie. And, I just, like, when I saw that, I can't remember what exact age I was,
Right.
but I think I was, like, either 10 or younger. Like, it was definitely, wasn't, like, I was young. I remember being, like, hella scared and, like,
Yeah, I
dreaming
remember
different
really
after that
being
one.
unnerved by it. Like,
Yeah.
once it started getting to a point where he really started pushing the envelope, the directors did anyways, pushing the envelope in terms of, like, what he was able to do, like, in the dream form version of him. Like, to me, that's what made it a little bit more scary, like, kind of on his ear, like, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I'll never
Ties
Oh,
more into
honestly,
reality.
I always found Freddy to be the most terrifying of the slashers.
Holy
Yes.
shit.
Oh, yeah. For sure. He knows your worst fear.
Like, I mean, just
Well, I
to
mean,
name a
you
quick
can't.
random few, like the motorcycle kill was always crazy to me. The chick that got stuck in the fucking roach motel was always too
Hell
much
yeah.
for me. Like, dude, there
Yes.
were just certain ones, bro. Like the chick that he
Mm.
fucking turned her into a fucking marionette and shit, bro.
Yep.
Like, yo, dude.
Dude, you got the comic book kill, you got the video game kill.
I
Dude, the one
mean,
where he got homie with the fucking hearing aid and the chalkboard, bro. Like, come on,
Oh,
man. Like,
yeah,
yeah.
right.
dude, like,
But
just
dude, I
so
mean,
fucking hardcore,
you got to
bro.
figure it. That movie came out in 1984, right?
Yep.
Nightmare on Elm Street 2 came out a year later.
Uh-huh.
And then Nightmare on Elm Street 3 came out 2 years after that. So it was like almost back to back to back.
Almost, yeah. But you also have to remember, like, those are those hot summer films, you know what I'm saying? So it's like,
Swinging those hitters.
No, they came out in November.
no, what I'm saying, though, is, like, all those, like, you know,
Really?
Yeah. Yep.
That's
The first
crazy.
one came out November 16th, 1984. The second one came out on November 1st, 1985.
Wow. That's wild. Thanksgiving movie. That's funny. Yeah, you think they'd be summer movies, huh?
well,
You
that's
would
what I'm
think.
getting at, though, is just, like, you got those coming out then, and then you'd have, like, the hot summer with all the other shit that came out at the same time, and they would bounce back off that shit and drop them right around fucking Halloween and shit, because, like, that was their wheelhouse, you know what I'm saying? You got to have a scary movie for fucking Halloween, but at the same time, there's always been this trope of having slasher films for Memorial Day, too. Like that
Yeah.
whole
That is
Memorial,
true.
4th of July, summertime vibe,
Yep.
like, yeah, you're going to get a horror film or two out of that time, too.
Yeah. So that's my first favorite scene was the Tina scene in the beginning. And then number 2 would have to be the Crispin Glover death with the screwdriver. Goddamn. That's just so like it's almost like comical, you know?
Yeah.
Like the silliness of some of the kills. That you're just like it's like dang. It's like kind of jarring too. And it's hard to pick about the Friday the 13th ones, but like I had to like include Friday the 13th, like as far as favorite scenes goes, because it's like everything's so like individual scene in a Friday the 13th movie instead of like the whole story. It's all like just a bunch of individual scenes.
Well, that's the whole thing we were talking about earlier, too, you know, in your body of work and whatnot. This man stacked bodies, so a lot of people
Yeah.
just kind of remember him vicariously through his kills because, like,
Yep.
usually
Yep.
each one of them is different, you know, it's significant.
Yeah, it's
And
like,
it's like
oh, 8, that's the one where he punched dude's head off. Oh, no.
squish
Oh,
his head
that's the
with a
one where
belt
he hits
against
him
a
with the,
brawl.
you know, this is the one with the sleeping bag kill.
Yeah, the sleeping bag, dude. That's
Yeah.
brutal.
Dude, that's like one of my favorites, but also another good favorite of mine is
Yes.
the you know this because it ended up being like one you just had, there was a lot of takeaways, but it wasn't very memorable. But to me, it was because like I feel like a lot of us we really like we've seen all of them, but we really started to enjoy them around like 5, 6, 7, and 8. So Jason Goes to New York has one of the best fucking kills because there's the boxer who's like, take your best shot.
Yes.
And he hits him
Yes.
with the
Yeah, where he
uppercut, and
punches dude's head off.
not only does he lose his head over it, but it literally bounces into the trash can. Like, it's,
Yep.
it's that extra payoff that's not necessary, but at the same time, it's so stereotypical in the best way of Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
If you don't do it, you're missing out on an opportunity. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
I totally agree with that. That's one of the movies you feel the best about. Like it's a like kind of feel good kind of Jason movie, like where it's like just like if like highlights all of the things that Jason does well. You know?
And see, that's the
Right.
thing. Like, there's two franchises where the killer doesn't say a damn thing at all, and it's Friday
Yeah.
the 13th and Halloween.
Halloween.
Like, those are the two where the killer doesn't say a damn thing throughout the
forget your
entire
new king.
franchise.
Don't
Yep.
forget your new king.
Yeah, Art.
You bow to his glory.
I mean, I'm sorry, I haven't seen Terrifier, so I don't know.
He says not a fucking word, dude. Like I said, he's a mime.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
He doesn't say a thing.
I gotta dive deep, as some would say, into that. Do a deep dive.
It's so good, man. So, quick history on him. There was a quick snippet, tidbit, vignette of him in All Hallows Eve. That's where he made his first appearance. And then, of course, you have subsequent tales from him for Terrifier, Terrifier 2, Terrifier 3. Like, and of course, they don't really start expanding upon the lore until Terrifier 2. Definitely a little bit more in Terrifier 3.
Yep.
And not to
I think I've
spoil
seen the
it,
first one.
and not to spoil it, let's just say they're definitely encroaching on the territory, albeit different. They're encroaching on territory similar for him in the way of the back end of Terrifier 3 and whatever may come of Terrifier
I
4
know.
that's on the way. But
Yeah, I can't wait.
definitely going to be a supernatural killer in the way that
Yes.
uh, malevolent spirits of Jason Voorhees and Michael Myers. He's going to be right there with them.
Oh
Just
yeah.
not
Okay.
exactly sure how that's going to play out because I don't know. Even though I've seen the film, like they leave it that open that you just don't know. But he has said that there's plans. He has no rush to put the film out. He's letting the film breathe. So
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I know. I need
basically,
a.
when you make an independent film for $2 million and it turns around and makes $200 million, you get to take your time where you want.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. That's amazing.
It's not, dude. No cap,
Sorry.
like not even bullshitting. They
I
spent
need to
five
give that
hundred
a.
thousand dollars on marketing, and literally everything else is word of mouth. Everything, dude.
I mean, you
That's
got so
what.
many people
That's what works.
cosplaying. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah, the cosplay too. That's just cross marketing.
But dude, when you have like 8 to 10 year olds out there dressing like him, like, come on, man.
That's we.
yeah, that was
He's
Freddy in
he's
the
fucking
80s.
man, dude. He's the new fucking man, dude. I'm telling you.
Okay.
That was Freddy Krueger in the 80s,
Right.
dude. Like,
Nah. There wasn't no kids out there wearing that shit, bro. Like, I hear you. You know what I'm saying? Respect, but no.
Uh,
It's
that
different,
Freddy
man.
glove.
It's different, man.
That
It's different, bro.
I would
It's
say
so
Freddy's
different,
bigger.
dude. It's
Freddy
so
was
right.
bigger.
different, dude.
Yeah, Freddy was huge.
Freddy was bigger.
I don't know, dude. I don't know.
Freddy was
What?
way bigger.
This
Come
might be
on.
the second coming, dude. It's the second coming. I'm telling you, bro. I've never seen anything like it, and we've been watching
Freddy
film
in the
for a
80s.
long time.
Freddy in the 80s.
I had
A
a
lot of
poster
it,
of Freddy
a
up in my
lot of it.
bedroom.
Man, that's fair. So did I. But my point is,
I had the plastic glove,
with,
dude. Like, that was.
A lot of it has to do with exposure, though. We're in an age of fucking social media where that shit gets posted and shared in the blink of an eye. We had to do it by word of mouth. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I think that's the only reason why it's different. There's no disrespect to the forefathers, bro. It's just that's where it's different.
Yeah.
Robert Englund was the man in that shit. I don't give a damn.
Yep. Yep. Oh yeah. That's number one.
Freddy
That's
in
my
the
number
Freddy
one
in the
movie.
80s, though.
Yeah, Freddy
That
in
was
the
a
80s. Oh my
phenomenon.
god. That's Freddy Mania.
Right?
It's just so weird because they started merchandising and for kids, and
That's so
Yeah.
epic. What
it's
an
just
80s
so.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
tell
the
you another
freaking
interesting-
sweater, the hat, the
another
glove.
Here's the thing.
Fuck yeah.
Another
Halloween costumes.
Hear me out, though. Another interesting dynamic of the films, right? So at the end of the day, you can rationalize a slasher killer just because, like, okay, cool, he's fucking crazy. Like, we're never gonna have to deal with that in our life, thank God, right? Conversation done. It's fine. So you go to a movie though to kind of escape from all that, and now you're pushed and pressed with the idea of like the reality is everybody's just afraid to go to sleep and be scared, right? Like nobody wants to go to
Right.
sleep and have a nightmare. Nobody. And so now you have that trope where like that's the main theme. So for him to come out and be kind of like funny in a way, like that just makes it more audacious and bombastic to tell your buddy like, hey, you should watch this, you should see this. You know what I'm saying? Because like it's hard and difficult to rationalize with a character that quite literally makes you wrestle with the idea of going to sleep.
I mean, Wes
Right.
Craven,
Yeah,
Well,
Wes
that's the
Craven was a
thing. That's the
genius
reason
for
why I always
that.
found Freddy to be the most terrifying, is because I mean, you can avoid. Stay the hell away from Springfield, Illinois. Stay the hell away from Camp Crystal Lake. You don't got nothing to worry about
Dude,
from,
every town has an
you
Elm
know,
Street. Every fucking town.
every town has an Elm Street, and you can't not sleep forever.
Right.
Right.
Right. So
Yeah.
like that's what
It's
makes it
just not,
tough. You know
it's
what I'm saying?
Gotta sleep
inescapable.
And then
sometime.
and so this gets back to what I was talking about. Like I said, we'll end up getting into this. I know we will. It'll be on a different segment, but a quick shift that runs parallel to the fact, sleep demons, bro. Like it's a real fucking thing in a multitude of cultures. It's not just an American thing.
Yeah.
Every culture has their own version of a pressure demon. Look into it. It's a real
It's
fucking
really
thing, dude.
relatable.
It's a
Yeah.
real phenomenon. And Wes Craven knew that when he made the movie. Even though it's not discussed, that's a very integral part of the lore of this movie and what it's about. It's about a demon that can find you in your sleep
Mm-hmm.
and kill you in real life.
Yep.
It happens. There was a town in a country where they had over like 500 to 1,000 deaths of like small children and young people and old people, like just three certain demographics. Like you can look this shit up, and they could not figure out what it is, and it's basically akin to and attributed to a pressure demon. It's just part of their culture, dude. Like it's a part of their daily lifestyle. So like. There's just a lot to be learned about subcultures that directly correlate to these subgenres of horror film. It's a real fucking thing. So it's just interesting for sure. Holy shit.
Right, where it's based on people that actually died in their sleep.
Right.
From like there's like I can't remember where exactly it was, but there was documented incidents where people died in their sleep, and it was about their nightmares, and they like died from their nightmares.
I read about that or heard about that somewhere where the person had died and they went into their closet and then find out that they had like a coffee machine in there that they were hiding, and like basically like no-dose pills in essence,
Whoa.
tons of different things that were intended to keep them awake. But again, doesn't matter how much coffee you drink, doesn't matter how much no-dose you take,
Caffeine, yeah.
eventually
Eventually,
Seriously.
you'll need to fall asleep.
well, that's
Yep.
the thing. I mean, your body's going to wear
Come
out or it's going to
down to
die.
this,
Yep.
but if you fall asleep, you're dead. So it's kind of
Yeah.
like,
Kind of catch 22.
Yep.
That's why Freddy is the scariest.
Best
Don't let it
practical
touch me,
effects, man.
Don't let it touch me, Matt.
Best practical effects. Oh wait, I haven't do my
it's our
third.
face
Oh yeah, you
I
got
did
your
my
third
number one
yet.
favorite scene.
Yep.
I did my number 2 favorite scene, and now my number 3 is from Nightmare on Elm Street 1 again, and it is the scene where Tina finally runs into Freddy at the beginning of the movie.
Well, you obsessed
And
with
she's
Tina,
like-
bro.
She's like, "Oh God," and he's like, "This is God," and it shows he puts his claws up to his face. He's like, "Fucking shit's badass." That shit, I was like, "Oh my God, holy
That's
shit!"
another thing I like. I think like there was a point also at the very beginning with those where like the writing, the script writing alone for that story was so on the nose that they almost needed to introduce a little bit of comedy to break that.
Yeah,
But at the same time, the fact that they
yeah.
kept it and left it there in the pocket so many times, I think really helped build the lore where it needed to be.
Yeah.
yeah. And now this scene was really like in a tie with the scene where he runs through the alley and he's got the long arms
Yep.
and he's like
Dude.
scraping them on the
That
wall
was so
or the
fucking
fences.
unnerving.
Yeah, he's just like running at you all crazy.
You remember the one where in the beginning where she falls asleep on the fucking bus and the bus ends up like going over that fucking huge like canyon or whatever, like
Yep.
and it's like teetering and shit. Oh
Yep.
man, dude, yeah.
Yes, that's a really good one. That's one that I saw at a young age as well,
Same.
and that resonated me more than the first one even. That
Yeah,
I almost
school
thought those
bus,
were
that's
both were
why.
the same movie. Yeah, because they got stranded in the school bus, and Freddy
Yeah.
turns out to be the driver.
Right.
And
you
then, like,
gotta
all of a
guess
sudden
what you gotta
there's,
do
like,
next thing in the
there's
morning.
hell
You gotta
right
get on
there.
the school bus, you know what I'm
Yep.
saying?
Yep.
Like, dude, they
Yep.
knew this shit. They knew who's watching these movies. Like, they know their
Oh, yeah.
audience, bro. Like, that's the thing. Like, that's the thing. Is so smart about Wes Craven, bro. He knew exactly what he was doing. He's like, wait, they see this shit, like.
This will keep him up at night.
For real.
Well, that's
School
another
bus
thing too. Like,
happens in Nightmare 2.
and that's another
Yeah,
thing
that's
I
what it
think
was.
too. That
Nightmare
like,
2. They're
that, like,
blended
it's
together
really
in my mind as a
interesting is the
memory.
fact that, like,
But I
you
know they're not the same.
he was also really on the nose about putting concepts in his films that he knew parents in real life, when he read about these instances and cases, were really having trouble dealing with their kids, dealing with these problems. So now you introduce these concepts into films that are probably going to be seen by young adults, and here again, these parents have to come forward with answers.
Yep.
So you're just building levels on levels on levels. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well, I didn't realize you had started it.
oh shit, is that what that did? My bad. I'm sorry, dude. I had no idea. I guess it's
Dun dun.
fucked.
Uh-oh. Well,
So
I got
good. I had
my
to change
practical
out my
effects
headset.
left.
What's up?
How could you change your headset at a time like this?
Rookie.
I'm just kidding.
Rookie move.
Well, my practical effects. Let's go ahead and say it's one-sided for me. The first number one
Hey, I'm here for it, man. It's all good.
is Nightmare on Elm Street 1, of course. With the sticky stairs, the fucking ceiling scene, the Johnny Depp death scene, the fire moment where Freddy's on fire, and it's like a really long scene where this guy is on fire, and it's real practical effects, and it is actually terrifying. And then
Dude.
number 2 is Nightmare on Elm Street 3, because that one had a lot of great fucking special or practical effects with the TV scene, like Matt was talking about, you know. And the number 3 best practical effects is Nightmare on Elm Street 5, Dream Child, where they had that food scene where he's eating all that food, and they're stuffing their face with all that food that's all gnarly looking, and they get all fat and gnarly. It's like, ugh, it's grotesque. It grosses me out every time I watch that scene.
Oh, goddamn.
You guys getting owned by warriors yet?
Dude, it's not good.
Yeah, I need to get
That's some
pathogen.
shit bleeding in my chest, bro. Like,
Really? Me too. We're like blood brothers.
listen, the whole screen is red. I'm thinking that can't be good, you know?
Uh-oh.
That's not
You're
good.
turning into
You might
a
need to
blood
heal
member.
up, dude.
Turning into a blood member.
Bruh.
All right. So I guess it's my turn.
All my bullets, bro.
Ah, shit, we're got a root.
I'm all trying to be funny.
I guess it's my turn, huh?
Goddamn.
Oh, another one.
Fuck, I definitely sent that shit at the wrong time. Bruh, that's disgustingly humanistic. Like, that's a gross looking humanoid. I'm gonna just say that.
Chucky would definitely be one of my honorable mentions. It's Chucky.
So, my personal favorites growing up. I'm gonna start from the bottom.
Child's Play. Yeah.
I'm gonna start from the bottom. You know, my
From
third,
the bottom, now we're here.
my number 3
Well,
is my number 3 is Hellraiser 3. Hell on Earth. That was an amazing movie. I love that.
You know,
movie.
I thought that was the first one when I was a kid. I thought that was the first one for the
So
longest
did
time.
I. Honestly, so did I. I was like, I mean, that's the thing. Like you could watch it out of order and it still made sense.
Yeah.
That's one thing I did like about that. Right.
Right.
My number 2 favorite movie growing up is Child's Play. The original Child's Play, the number 1 original Child's Play.
Hell yeah.
Um,
Brad Dourif.
And then my personal favorite growing up was Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
Nightmare
yeah.
3?
Nightmare on Elm Street 3 was my personal favorite. I mean, I remember...
Yes, Dream Warriors, man.
I remember
Back to
wanting
base,
to
man.
watch that movie
Yeah, we can
on
return to base.
the playground.
Yeah. Nightmare on Elm Street Dream Warriors was just like a whole nother vibe for the Nightmare movie, too. Because it's like there was a team of good guys.
Yeah, talking about
know?
it with
Come and
my
get me.
friends during recess. You know, like that was. I love that movie. That movie was amazing.
Fuck yeah.
So, my
What's the
greatest of
matter,
all
Joey?
time
I think
Feeling
I
a
own it
little
on VHS.
tongue-tied?
I think I still have it on VHS.
My greatest of all time. As a matter of fact, I remember it was on my pop recorded it on the same VHS tape from like HBO as he
Nice.
recorded Dirty Dancing. And
What
I
a
was
double feature. I don't know which one's scarier.
Yeah, right.
But
That's so funny.
my sisters would
What a mood
watch
shift.
Dirty Dancing so often that it actually wore out the
Nobody
tape.
puts Freddy in a
Oh
corner.
no! Holy shit!
It actually wore out the tape, and I got so pissed off when it broke.
Oh no,
Because
dude!
I wanted like that was my favorite movie. Like I would watch
Yeah.
that one over and over. Like he recorded it after Dirty Dancing, of course.
Damn.
But you know,
Rough shake.
I got so mad when that tape broke. I was mad as hell, and it was all my sister's fault. But
Blame the sister. It didn't have nothing to do
nobody
with
puts
you
Freddy
rewatching
in the
the movie
corner.
over and over again.
I'm gonna smoke some ribs.
All right, so my
On
greatest of
Tuesday.
all time, number 3 is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Right,
Hell
the
yeah.
original Texas Chainsaw
Yep.
Massacre.
The OG.
I mean, that movie was just awesome. You know, it started for me. It started my journey down horror films, right? And
Yeah.
then obviously A Nightmare on Elm Street, the original Nightmare on Elm Street, is one of the
Hell
greatest of
yeah.
all time, simply
Yes.
because it started that whole franchise.
Yeah.
Right? If it wasn't for that first one, we wouldn't have Freddy. Right?
No, we wouldn't have
And
any
in
of those other
reality,
sequels.
Freddy was the first slasher horror icon that talked,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
taunted. If it
I mean,
wasn't for Freddy,
not necessarily. I
you
mean,
probably would not have had slashers like Chucky or Pinhead or
but the thing is, like
Right? For real.
Ghostface.
with Texas
Yeah, with
Chainsaw, though,
Ghostface.
you had the family. Now, Leatherface didn't really talk too
Leatherface
much.
himself never said a word.
No, but I mean, he's the icon of the movie, but it was the entire family, and the family did speak.
Yeah.
Once again, let me remind you that this is again Toby Hopper, so it's more about the whole picture of the fact that like this is an entire family living out in the middle of nowhere, and they're the ones
Right.
doing this to you.
They wanna
Leatherface just
eat
happens
you.
to be the biggest and worst of all of them.
Right.
But
Leatherface was the enforcer, the
you
monster.
also have to
Yep.
understand the reason, though. But here's the thing. Here's the caveat that most people don't talk about. He was the monster that his family created.
Yep.
He's the way he
Correct.
is because of them. He doesn't know any other way. This is why he doesn't know how to talk. He doesn't know how to be normal because all he knows is what they know, what they have shown him. So he
Right.
literally is also like the dichotomy of it is he's a product of his environment, but the environment is one in which you cannot escape because there's no escaping in that plan. They're living in it, they're festering in it, and they're going to kill you while they're wallowing in it.
He's multi-dimensional.
Right.
But I
He's
do
got a
have
little
to
more
say,
dimension.
that my greatest of all time, even though we've kind of, again, kind of established that this may or may not have been a slasher, is Psycho. Because without that, I don't believe that the slasher genre would exist at all.
It would.
I
It lays
would.
the groundwork, dude. Like I said, it's a part of it's a brick a part of the building and whatnot, and the foundation. But it's one of those things. Like it's gonna happen with or without anybody. You know what I'm saying? Like that's one of those. Like I said, that one is more about the story building that helps build the narrative, like the psychology of a killer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because that's what it's about. Like I said, that's why that was more of a psychological thriller even though you cannot talk about these films without giving it the respect that's due.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like it treads the waters, you know, as far as like the movies go, or the slasher movies go, like Psycho, like it laid the groundwork for something that to what could be acceptable, you know,
Yeah, I
and
think.
then once that became acceptable for a movie to be like that, it opened the door for other movies to kind of push the boundaries,
Oh yeah, and I think
but
also
not
on that note, I
necessarily in a
think it's like
slasher vein.
it's one of those best examples of how you're going to have plenty of horror films out there that check the boxes, and that's okay because they're supposed to. What wasn't supposed to happen is that we psychoanalyze it so much that there's so many subgenres and subcategories. But
Yeah,
now that there are, it's only important to reference them when you're trying to drive the narrative of what type of film you're looking for. Like
Yeah.
Matt says, a lot of times when we're taking in all this data about films, it's not so we can bag on it and talk down about it. It's so that if somebody says, "Hey, have you ever seen this? I'm looking for a film like that."
yeah.
That's what helps
They hear
drive the
something.
narrative of labels and
Yep.
categories and subgenres for film. That's where it's helpful, right? So, and you may have missed out on this a little bit earlier. We were talking about this, but like, if you ever get to what we're doing, where we're just deep diving, fans of horror film talking about fans of horror film. When you get like, we're not here to persecute any one person's particular, idea of what a film should be. The last thing we want to do is define whether or not a film is a horror film. We're not doing that. We're not. You know what I'm saying? We're here to appreciate, talk about it, you know what I mean, and give everybody else room and space to breathe about horror films and not feel guilty because you brought up the one fucking film that everybody hates or nobody's, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not what
Yeah.
we're here to do.
Right,
But I
right.
feel like a
Real.
lot of times, whenever I'm deep diving, trying to find source material for us to discuss, a lot of times what you hear, oh, I hated this film. This film was dog shit. This film was trash. Like, okay, but like that's you being subjective. Like that's a you thing. That's not on the film. You feel
That's,
that way. So
your
you can't
opinion.
really impart that on the next person and expect that to be a fair, assessment for them. They've never seen it before. Like, how would they know? You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah. So I mean, those are my greatest of all times,
Right.
right? Best new film you have recently seen.
Correct.
Again, just to kind of give you an idea of how long it's been since I've actually watched like horror films. I would have to say that the most recent film that I've seen, as far as slasher type, because I didn't fill any of this in, um, I'd have to say Jennifer's Body. How long ago did that come out?
Oh.
That is obviously a great film, but I definitely it's got to be supernatural.
Yeah. That's not a slasher.
You know what I
I
mean? But
mean,
I hear you though. It's definitely one of those that gets zero fucking respect as it should. I know I bought that motherfucker for $5 and felt like I wanted like a goddamn king. I was
right?
like, yo, I just came up. I think it's like a director's cut too. I'm not even gonna lie, dude.
But
I
I'm
think it's
saying
like
that's just an idea of how long it's been since I've actually sat down and like actually watched.
no, I get it. Talon Steel. I don't watch shit. Roadhouse is my favorite movie. Like I get it.
I didn't say Roadhouse was my favorite
Ten,
movie. Now, come
ten
on.
No,
feet
it's
high.
Deliverance.
You know
Is
what?
Deliverance.
That's it. The one with the banjo. I got it. I forgot. There
Yeah,
we
the
go.
one with the banjos. You forgot. Got to think about
Now, if you want to
banjos.
talk about horror, if you want to talk about horror TV shows, let's talk about that, right?
We gotta stay on target here. What else? What's
right.
left on your list? What's on your list?
All right. So, favorite scenes. I'm gonna
Yep.
start again from number 3, right?
Sweet. Shoot.
And that would be Hellraiser, opening of the puzzle box,
Nice. Okay.
right?
Right.
Because they're just going through and opening the puzzle box, and then as soon as it opens and it clicks open, and you see it like turn and all that other stuff, the room goes dark, and then there's Pinhead.
Hell yeah.
Like that was an aha moment, right?
Oh, frick.
My
I
number
was sitting in
two,
awe.
my number 2 is from Child's Play. And that was when the mother realizes that there's no batteries in the good guy doll.
All right, Chucky.
Hell yeah.
And that head just turns and
Screams.
yup,
She drops him. He rolls underneath the couch.
yup.
Not me getting a cold chill just now. Cut it out.
Yep, you don't look at dolls the same.
Cut it out.
You just don't look at dolls the same.
You don't.
You really don't, bro. Like,
Especially at that time. Especially
Their
at that
eyes-
time, because we had my
That's the
buddy.
thing. Listen, that's
Yeah,
the deal
their
breaker,
eyes
bro.
moved
You
and
got
shit.
Eyes and you can look back at me. I don't like that.
You know,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Is like at
Especially
that
if they
time.
moved.
At that time, there was the My Buddy dolls.
The My Buddies,
Well,
yep.
that's
Right.
the only
Teddy
thing.
There was my
Ruxpin.
buddy, but there was also the Cabbage Patch Kids.
Yup.
And Teddy Ruxpin.
And
Oh.
Teddy Ruxpin
There
and
was
like
an advent of dolls that were being made with eyes that could watch you no matter where you moved, and there's a fucking problem with that.
Yep. It's fucking
Yep.
creepy,
Just
man.
let you know right fucking now, like, no, I am
It's
not
super
here
creepy.
to be objectified. I need an adult, okay? And I listen.
and then my number one all-time favorite scene is Matt's already mentioned it, but it's my all-time favorite scene, and that's when Fred in Nightmare on Elm Street 3 when she's sitting there trying to burn her arms to stay awake, and she's sitting in front of the TV and like Freddy is right there.
So, you know.
Like, right. Like, I mean, it's my all-time favorite scene where he just picks her up and says, "Welcome to prime time, bitch," and slams her head into like, there's no way she would have done that on her own.
Well, not only that, but it's like, listen, I'm at home, I'm out of my own business, I'm trying to watch TV, I like this TV, and now you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just rude, dude. Like, come on now.
Yeah, have somebody
I'm
come in and be
gonna
like,
watch
"Oh,
TV,
my
okay?"
game is on."
Right, you know what I mean? I can't even see what the score is now because the back of my scalp is stuck to a fucking receiver. Like, that don't make
Yeah,
sense.
for real.
I can't live like this.
I mean that was one that was one of my all-time favorite. Like that was the start of like everything else that went on in that movie.
Right.
Right. Best practical effects overall. My third place would have to be Child's Play.
Right.
And the reason why I say that is because it's a doll that's doing the
Yeah.
killing.
Yeah.
The animatronics that utilized on Child's Play were pretty groundbreaking at the time.
Yeah. Yeah, it was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Number 2 was Nightmare on Elm Street 3. Again, can't give that movie enough credit for everything that it did. Right?
You really can't.
I mean, those practical effects were just insane for the time that it came out. Like it was absolutely amazing. But my number one best practical effects movie, as far as everything that I've said so far, I have to give it to Hellraiser 3. The
Hell on earth.
the way that they did things, like the wrapping of the wire and the chains and hooks and all that's like
The CD kill?
yeah.
Or throwing the CDs?
The Cenobites, the way that they did the Cenobites were amazing. I have to give it to Hellraiser 3 as the best practical effects because they did an amazing job with everything. So, that's my list.
Yeah. Right on. Yeah, Hellraiser was awesome, man. Oh, what a great franchise.
Really, really is.
Now, I remember talking with Matt way back in the day of like video games with all like the villains in them fighting each other. Kind of like how Mortal Kombat has like all these other villains like Freddy and stuff in it. We were talking about that way back in the day with like Pinhead and like
and see,
Hellraiser or Freddy and Jason and
with
Pumpkinhead and
Hellraiser 3 actually showed you the origins of Pinhead as well.
right.
Like that was like
That was 2.
was it 2?
Hell on
I
Earth
thought it
was
was
2?
3.
That was 2.
Hell on Earth was 2, wasn't
2 opens up with Doug Bradley opening the box and becoming Pinhead. was the opening of Hellbound.
Right.
Hellbound. Okay.
Yeah, because 3 was Hell on Earth.
Three is the when Pinhead comes from the totem,
Yeah. Okay.
from the club
Yeah.
owner.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, it's the spinning thing in this
Yep.
room. He's like taking girls over there,
Where he
feeding them to the
strips the
thing.
woman naked and then strips her skin off and then swallows her into the totem.
Yep.
Crazy
Yeah.
to me that you guys
Fucking
can't
gnarly.
remember that, because I'm gonna tell you right now, I personally was traumatized because while we won't mention it live on stream, the guy that's the club owner that gets killed, he's got my fucking name. Whatever. I'm just saying. How you guys I think you know
Coincidence?
someone. I think
Coincidence?
not.
I think not.
Yeah, exactly. I think not. We had the same fucking haircut at the time. I'm not even lying. I'm like, listen.
Dude, all I gotta say is I need a cheeseburger.
Except he was kind of a douche.
No,
So-
definitely, and I am not for sure. I know it. So here's the thing, though. Is it my turn now?
Yes, it is.
Finally got there.
Yep,
Yes, it
we
is.
finally got there.
All right, so
Let's hear it.
It's gonna be fucking weird, dude. I'm probably gonna piss people off. I mean, not my fault.
Oh,
dude.
jeez. Here we
My
go.
fault. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? My bad, dude. My bad, dude. Personal favorites. We're just gonna rip the band-aid off, and like I like to remind you guys, if you want to do top 3 or in no particular order, either one is fine. It does not matter to me. Like, it's just more about, like I said, the conversation and getting it done. So
Yeah.
top 3, no particular order for me growing up. The very first one that I can like cognitively remember watching like socially with friends, and I mean like literally one friend, like me and this one dude, we'd just be staying up, like you know how it is, dude. You think you're a fucking rebel, you're staying
Yep.
up like an hour past anybody else. Just, you know what I'm saying? Like you're watching a fucking movie on TV at night. You know what I'm saying? You're fucking you're doing the devil's work. You know what I'm saying? We're watching scary movies.
Yes.
So, anyways, yeah, for me, Friday the 13th, like, you know, Jason Lives, I'm pretty sure it was the one was like where the fucking lightning strikes the grave and shit. Like, bro.
Yep. 6. Yep.
Literally, like, that was the first one that I saw. Because, like, obviously, a lot of us, we all saw them, like, out of order, out of context, just quick frames and vignettes, and we were like, ooh, what's that? And probably somebody's aunt or uncle or your parents come out, you should be watching that, get away from the TV, go to bed, you know what I'm saying, shit like that. So, like, then, like, from that point on, you have to watch it, you know what I mean? So,
Yep.
this is how we find these films, you know. So, yeah, Friday the 13th, Halloween, very first one, obviously. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, very first one. Those are my 3 personal favorite heavy hitters right out of the gate. Ironically, though, I will tell you, I have a special place in my heart for every single one of those films when it comes to the originals and the remakes. It's already been touched on a couple times by you guys, which is kind of why I love doing this. Just because we all end up having like the same kind of thought process sometimes when it comes to these. So the Killer Cut was really fucking awesome for me in terms of like personal favorites, with Friday the 13th being on the list. For
Yeah.
Halloween, I absolutely loved the Rob Zombie versions of Halloween. Unpopular opinion and hot take. I know everybody kind of hates them. I think they're
I
absolutely
love the
brilliant
first one.
bodies of work.
First one, yes. The second one had some stuff that it could have not
It wasn't
had.
as good. It was not as good. Like, I'll
So
say
the
that.
second one, I thought the first one was fantastic. The first Rob Zombie Halloween was fantastic.
I
Loved
think the
it.
second one was trying too hard.
I think the second one, they should have left out the whole white horse. You know,
Yeah.
that particular thing with just giving Sherry Moon Zombie more screen time for really no reason with the
Right.
white horse.
Yeah.
That was like, why? I don't it was completely lost on me as where his symbolism was, what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
I mean,
Trying to
some
get his
people
wife
don't like
paid.
the Halloween, the Rob Zombie Halloween, because it kind of it more humanizes Michael to a degree. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They give you kind of the why, you know, behind it, the whole abusive childhood home and all of that. You know, so they give that. Whereas some people just really want to cling to the mythos of, you know, it's just
Him
an
being
unexplained evil.
supernatural,
I think,
yeah.
honestly, dude, I hear you, but I agree to an extent. But I just feel like that's the easy answer, right? Everybody just wants to automatically assume all of these things. I don't want to say this. I can't speak for Rob, so I can't say this so on the nose that we're literally talking about like, I mean, behold the pale horse. Like I'm not, it could be. I'm not, I'm not. It's a different hill of beans. But my point is, he's building on the idea. He's humanizing, yes, but I think he's only humanizing so like where we came from
No,
and
I
how
didn't mind
vast
that.
of a contrast of difference it is to have now this malevolent spirit that
Mm,
there's no rationalizing with him. You know what I mean? Like
right.
this is part of that journey. Now I very much feel like he's still like this methodical killer alive very much before we get to like this malevolent spirit that continues to come back. But I think once you get into part two, now we're starting to like settle into that. I just didn't see him doing any more iterations of those films where he's deliberately talking about the malevolent spirit part of it. I think we just got to see Michael in the pocket of, him running around doing his thing before he transcends to that next level of the story arc. You see what I'm saying? But I
Right.
also feel like there was a lot of heavy lifting in part two. Obviously part one was a masterpiece just because you handle a part of the story that basically for whatever reason was left out and afraid to be touched upon. I think it's very important that you touch upon that because that humanizing level of him is what makes him all the more relatable, and I don't think it's in a way for you to like root for him either. You know what I
Or
mean? Like,
see, that's the thing. I mean, all remakes kind of do that. I mean, if you look
Well,
at the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, it does the same thing, right?
nah, but that one they did a
It's
disservice though, dude. It's not right. That one's not right.
Yeah,
I
the
gotta stand
effects
on
in
that
that
hill,
were.
bro. Like,
I mean, I know it's an
I will
unpopular
stand on
like
the
opinion,
it.
but I did
hill that
like
I
it.
actually enjoyed all of them, including Nightmare.
I liked it. Don't get me wrong, I liked it. But there was a couple scenes, like the stair scene and the ceiling scene, where it was not. They didn't have it effective to where it had made the effect as the original. Like there was apparent wire use on the ceiling scene where she was swinging back and forth on the wire, like not on the ceiling, sliding back and forth on the ceiling, but she's on a wire instead of like having an upside down like camera on a room that's made upside down, to make it look like she's on the ceiling.
yeah.
Like that's
So
one takeaway
quickly,
I had, but everything else was really good. And the
right?
guy who plays Warshak, I can't remember his name. What's his name?
Jackie Earl Haley.
Jackie Earl Haley.
Of
Yeah,
course,
he did a
Matt would
really good
know.
job. His voice in that was really good. It made a more serious Freddy, which I really liked. There was a lot of that movie that I really liked. Hey, get away from that cheese, kitty. He's trying to get at my cheese.
So to quickly recap, personal favorites growing up: Friday the 13th, Halloween, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, very much rooted in like classic tropes. I think that progressed the
Didn't even talk
genre.
about the Texas Chainsaw remake, which I think was the best remake.
Oh
And
yeah,
then we're
it
getting
was
there. We're
so
getting
good.
there. We're getting there. And then
Oh,
so next up, I've got my goats of all time. This is where it takes a turn. So for me, it's definitely about what progressed slasher film for my goats. Just because I feel like we all grew up on like the classic icons. It really doesn't get any better than that. There's no real way to reinvent a slasher killer. So to me, I feel like if it's already been out and done once, with respect to what the film is, it's cool, but it's already been done. So like it comes up later on my list. But for example, as much as I enjoyed In a Violent Nature, it was shot similar to the way that Friday the 13th is. So it's enjoyable in that way. But at the same time, no disrespect to them, it's already been done before. So, like, for me, the greatest of that is Friday the 13th. You know what I'm saying? But that's just a small example, not to get off point. So, for my goats, I've got,
Oh, we could
coming,
talk about that movie.
yeah, coming in for my goats for number one, my 90s king is going to be Ghostface from Scream. So for me, number one comes in, greatest of all time, has got to be Scream. And ironically, it's Wes Craven at it again. And just really throwing a shot of nitrous in the arm of the horror genre where it wasn't. We really didn't have anything. We were clinging on to the remnants of our original horror icon heroes, and they needed help. You know what I mean? Like, there was a little bit like if you remember, we didn't get any of these remakes that we want to talk about and love until after Scream. You know what I'm saying? And so like as much as you might hear the narrative that like it's a horror comedy, I wholeheartedly disagree with that. It's
That is a
disrespectful.
horror film.
It's
Exactly.
horror.
It's disrespectful.
It is.
It literally turned it on its ear and made the concept of like being aware and on the nose about what the tropes were and how to possibly survive was like one of the best things they could have ever done for the genre. Now,
It
Yes, I
was
honestly,
really
the
like that part.
it
honestly,
was ultra meta.
honestly, to be fair, exactly before meta was meta, but to be
Yep,
fair, it showed you also though you got one shot one time to do this with a genre,
an
and
opportunity.
you're probably not going to be able to do it with another genre, another film in the same genre. So if another movie was to come out and try to be meta about it the way Scream was, I don't see it getting as much success. I just don't because
Right.
you got the right way to do it, and it's already been done, right?
Yep.
So moving on to the second one. Again, we're just theme is for me was progressing the genre, right? Uh, the king of the trilogy as it was during this time, Rob Zombie, the Firefly films. I chose The Devil's Rejects Part 2 to be the better of all of them. And I think that just has a lot to do, not that being better than House of a Thousand Corpses, it's the one film out of the three with the best of the body of work. You know what I mean? You've got little tropes and anecdotes that were great sprinkled out throughout all of them, and they were all masterpieces for their own reasons, but there were also three very
You
different,
chicken
separate
shit.
films. So you have the concept of, like, the family trying to defend their home when somebody invades it in the second one, but you have the idea of very much meeting the family for the first time, a lot like you did in Chainsaw in the first film, House of a Thousand Corpses. So you meet the family, you see how off the fucking hinges they are and crazy, and just when you think it's over, it ends wild as fuck,
Yep.
which leads you into part two where they're defending the house. Now they're hitting the road. It's an on the road tour. You get the third one where it ends in a blaze of glory. A lot of this is akin to the tropes that are found in 70s horror slasher films, which is exactly what Rob Zombie loves and caters to. You can tell that with a lot of his projects that he takes on. So you
Oh
have to
yeah.
kind of be a fan of that slasher era to really enjoy all of it to an extent, but not necessarily to get anything out of it. I think you can watch any of those out the box and still be fine without seeing them like in order. But it's quite possibly one of the best trilogies to come out at that time. Um, Third one for me, in terms of goats, just really pushing the envelope. We've touched on it a couple times. He's the new Crown King, Terrifier, first one, just because it really pushes the envelope of what we are to expect in terms of next gen horror. And what I mean to say is like. Sure, the idea of the film is a little on the nose, but at the same time different, just because we're talking about a mine and clowns have been done before. Nobody has approached doing this style of film with this level and care just for practical effects. Like everything else across the board is going to be at the level where it should be shot, but the practical effects are going to be dialed up to the nines. And I mean, we're talking next fucking level. But it's where it should be. It's going to be the new industry standard on a lot of levels. It's just about does this apply? Is this for my film? Because honestly, obviously, it's not for everybody's film. It's not. It's not going to be for every horror film out there. I think at that point you're oversaturating the market in
Yeah,
terms of
you
practical effects
desensitize it.
the way that they did with unfortunately with zombies. You know what I mean? And none of this is Romero's fault. None of this is Robert Kirkman's fault. Like they just capitalized on it in a time where the it was ripe for the picking. The fruit was bearing. People wanted it. You know what I mean? So there's nothing wrong with that. But now the market is so oversaturated, you're kind of going to need some time to get something that's really fruitful, that's really good and bears proper fruit. I think that's the only reason why 28 years later is now going to be successful because, duh, almost 28 years later, we're finally getting to the conclusion of this film after we've been stuck through what 12 seasons of The Walking Dead, three iterations of The Last of Us. Like, it's great context of content, but it's too much. Do you know what I mean? And no disrespect to your body of work. Make your money, boo boo. I'm watching it. I'm not mad at you. But it's a lot. Um,
For
jumping
real.
right more into it, unless you guys have something on that for the all times goats for me. Just gonna keep it moving. Best new film that I had recently seen. Obviously, I'm spoiled. I've seen a lot, but these are different. And like I said, I really thought about new films just in terms of like continuing to push the genre forward. Just because it was my number three, I'll get into it for number one best new film, Terrifier 3. It really, really, really sent it over the edge. I think once you get
Yeah,
into part one, you're
yeah.
testing the waters, right? And I feel like Matt's narrative of like not being sure about the first one, it kind of took a second pass, maybe even an undisclosed third. I'm just guessing here. To where you really got to get into it and see it for what it is, because surface level, there's a lot going on. It's not just kills for the sake of kills. It's for the fact that, like I said, here again, he's the only producer doing this shit, and he made it all on his own with no help. You know what I mean? So it's not
That
really
movie.
to brag about. It's just a place that he's been. And so once you get to Terrifier 2, it's like, okay, we're tested the waters. Now we're gonna see what they'll allow us to do. And you'll see some of the wildest shit ever done on film where the
Yeah.
camera does not cut away. That's the difference. You're going to get a lot of these where they push the envelope. Want to see? Want to see? No. And you don't get to see anything. It's inferred. And it's inferred heavily enough to where you don't need to. But in this one, you see it, right? And so now that you cross that
Yeah.
off the list, the third one is very much, well, we kind of tested the waters. Now we know what you're used to, so now we're just ripping off the entire headdress. Not the band-aid, but we're snatching off the tourniquet, the headdress, everything is going to be dripping. Hope you enjoy it. This is what we've been working up to. And then I
Let's
honestly
paint
feel
the
like
walls.
part four, yeah, I feel like part four is going to close out the lore and shut the door. And that's it. I really don't see us getting a 5, a 6, none of that. Although he's joked about it, but he's joking in a way where he felt like he never really thought he would see it get that far. But this is also from the same man who thought nobody understood his practical work and that they would never get past part 1. You know what I'm saying? So it's really just one of those things where we're blessed to have the opportunity to see this and see it in theaters. So if you ever have a chance to see it in theaters, do it and do it often.
Yeah, that
Hell
movie kind
yeah.
of gets you within the first couple minutes.
Yeah. Um, moving on, favorite scene. I know this will be tough because some of you guys haven't quite seen it yet, or either you do and you know exactly what I'm saying. So I'll just run through them briefly with not much details because I don't want to spoil anything for you guys. Um, in no particular order, I have Scream. The first one on here is one of my favorite scenes from the movies listed above, obviously. But Scream is one of my favorites, not only for the way that the film builds out, but just on the basic principle, I think, of the out of box thinking to have the reveal of the killer be two people. And then the dynamic between those two people as everything starts to unravel because they're on paper idea of how it's going to end and how they're going to, wound themselves to make themselves look like part of the victims goes completely wrong and off the rails. Um, subsequent to say,
My mom's
suffice
gonna
it to
be
say,
so mad
so
at
mad,
me.
yeah, yeah. Like, it's that you cut me deep, man. Like, dude, like, and it's
Matthew
so,
Lillard was
yeah,
amazing in
dude,
that fucking
it's
movie, dude.
so real and visceral to take it to that point to where it's like now he's concerned about his life. Before, he didn't give a fuck. All bets are off. But now there's a possibility I could die from this. Like, no, we've done too much now. So even at that point, it's a little on the nose. And I'll leave it there because I don't want to get too much into it, being that we do still have one more film on the horizon, and this very topic is very much a hot button issue on who may or may not be in the next film, and I'll leave it
Let's
there.
bring back Stu.
So
Bring
yeah,
back Stu.
hashtag bring back Stu. Fucking right on, bro. So anyways, I'll just say this. There are reels and clips of him pontificating on the possibility and what he's worked out in his mind of how he could come back. But I'm not going to get into it. It's just crazy. Second thing, there is a kill that on multiple horror award shows has made it for Kill of the Year at the time when it was released. There is a kill in a violent nature that is called the yoga scene kill. And I will not spoil it for you guys. You will know it when you see it, and you will understand why
Yeah.
it's considered to be one of the most heinous kills on film, especially that year. And it's got high competition, dude. High competition. But it's arguable. It's arguable for sure. So, anyways, moving on.
Huh.
My number one, arguably number one, best favorite scene has got to be from Rob Zombie's Halloween. It's the fight scene from the truck stop in the bathroom with the fucking
Yes.
grizzly, bro. Like, it's just a man's fight scene. You know,
Yeah.
very much inappropriate because, my man's dropping a deuce and he's trying to be polite, like, hey, you don't know me, I don't know you. Maybe you don't realize you're in a bathroom right now. I'm kind of busy. If you could just give me a moment, I can give you this space. I think in a way, not that much context, but we've all been there, right? You get the knock on the door, you're like, hey, occupied, give me a minute, no harm, no foul. Everybody moves on with their day. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If anything, you get your little wipe in and the awkward stare down as you leave the stall and the other guy walks in. Do you know what I mean? This is a full-on knockdown, drag-out brawl. And if you can even imagine anybody actually surviving a brawl with Michael Myers, let me tell you, I have had the privilege of actually, like, not to name drop or anything, like, I just got lucky, but I have met this man. Tyler Mane is a huge fucking dude, and for those that don't know, he is the man that portrayed, Michael Myers in these films. He is fucking enormous in size. Like, looking up to this man when you're shaking his hand, like, you look up, you see his chest and shoulders, you continue to look up. Like, full disclosure, all of us in the 5x5 are generally about the same height. Trust me when I tell you, you're going to look up at this man and then continue to look up. Like, he's crazy huge. So, yeah, to get into a fight with another large man like you see in this scene, and for those that have not seen this film, you can look this scene up on YouTube. It's crazy. So, yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite scenes because, like, it does not, well, and if Michael Myers, it definitely goes down the way you think it's going to go down. But I would say the fight that this man puts up is impressive, but all for naught. So, it's
Of
just one of
course.
those where it's like, holy shit. Like, yeah, it's a fight. You know what I mean? But, in a movie where you don't necessarily expect to see, your horror hero get into a little tussle with anybody, like, it's probably one of the more prevalent, I would say, fight scenes in a horror film where you don't really see fight scenes. You see somebody flailing about before their untimely demise, and that's about all you see. So yeah, it's definitely up there, I would say, in top three, like, physical fights in a fucking movie.
Nice.
Um, so let's see, for me, to finish it out, best practical effects, try to keep it simple. Terrifier 3, for reasons obvious but unknown for those of you that haven't seen it yet. Just, there are things and done in that film that, like, wow. Like,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. Really
Like,
wow.
so, like, well, Matt, because you've seen it, I'll go ahead and pontificate a little bit. There's a scene that involves a rat. Um,
Yeah.
I thought I seen enough with a rat from fucking, what is it, Too Fast, Too Furious?
Oh man.
Yeah.
You ain't seen shit, bro. Like, you ain't
Yeah.
seen shit.
Nope.
Um, so then moving on, yeah, just
I'll have
moving
to
on.
watch that movie
Brutal.
then. Yeah, goddamn.
Brutal.
House of a Thousand Corpses.
Ooh.
This is a global overall. Obviously, the practical effects in that is amazing. Everything from honestly, for me overall, like a global set design. And the main reason I bring this up is because I've done plenty of deep dives, Rob Zombie talking about this film. For those that don't know, House of a Thousand Corpses was quite literally, I'm gonna pull it out of my ass and pitch it raw
Pretty
in
much.
in the office. Like, they literally brought him into the office for a conversation in which he thought he was about to get fired because he was literally consultating on a possible horror house that you could walk through. Like that's all he was working on. That was the project. That was it. And they saw the work he did on the set of that and brought him in. It's like, hey, we were just curious if you had any ideas for a film. And he was like, oh yeah, sure. And literally just starts pulling ideas out of his ass. Like it's not even written down yet. And they fucking bought it. Number one, right? Number two, he literally goes in and creates his own set design. You know what I mean? And does these crazy sets that are literally like niche vignettes of macabre film that most people probably don't even know about, right? And so, like, every single vignette in that film is literally just something fresh out of his mind that's just brilliant. Like, some of the best ideas he came up with were in that film. You know what I mean? So, it's really just so much going on with that, even down to, like, the underground levels and the Dr. Satan bit, the Carney approach, where, you know, certain cast members that will remain unnamed have been modified and changed in wild ways of imagination you can never even think about unless you've actually looked at some of the back pages of exploitation magazines or old school Fangoria magazine. You know what I mean? Like
Right. Oh
that's
my
Hell yeah.
behind
goodness.
this stuff, dude. Like you don't see this shit just anywhere. But because he's a student of film and the way that he is, you get to see these little anecdotes and tropes and wonder, like, how in the fuck did he come up with this shit? It's like, you have to be a student of horror. You just have to be. Because it's the only way you're going to understand where half of this shit comes from. And he just really did a great job of filling up all the negative space with these little bits and tidbits of candy, dude. Like, it's just amazing. It's like shining like a diamond in a goat's ass, but you have to look for them in order to see them, because it's not cool if he has to fucking tell you about it. So you're not going to be told about it. You know what I mean? And so my last one, briefly, is just one that we all kind of touched on, and I tried to pick out three different, like luckily, three different quick tidbits that you'll be familiar with. They'll strike a chord, but we don't really have to get into too much detail because we're just talking about best practical effects. So by definition, we'll just be able to, you know, discuss it by what the scene would be called or what it's pertaining to. And like I said, because the practical effects are so phenomenal on it, you'll know exactly what they are. But yeah, bottom line, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it made it into my top three of all time. This is where I talk about the Netflix version. It's so badass. It's so on the nose. It checks all the boxes. It does everything that you would ask for and imagine, including finding a way, as Matt alluded to, tying it into the original, which is the greatest piece of fan service you can do for anybody that took the time to watch these. There was even a remotely a fan of these films. Uh, Another notable character in this film that a lot of people don't talk about, but he's a great method actor, a great body of work. Even though we're not really talking about actors too much, I'd be remiss if I didn't say his name. Richard Brake, just a great actor in that film. Um, Definitely makes it into one of my first favorite practical effects scenes. Was the car accident in that film where his
Oh yeah.
jaw is just fucking jacked, like in a bad spot for real. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
but he's in a spot where like he can't do anything about it. You know, but yeah, for practical effects, my notes on that film, I would obviously then overall the three biggest scenes for me: the car accident, obviously the bus scene where they attempt to cancel Leatherface by putting him live on Instagram. Just not going to
Yeah.
work for you because
Nope.
obviously, just like in real life, if you were to unfortunately meet this individual, that's exactly what would happen. For those of you that don't know, we won't spoil it, but trust me, you'll know exactly what happens when it happens. And then my final tidbit for best practical effects and the reason why and the drive it home, because for those that don't know, our horror heroes are so about their business, they always come back for the final kill, and they leave no margin for error in this film as he comes back for the final kill that is a beheading, and it is quite literally one of the most unnerving kills in the entire film, and it's the best one to end on.
Nice.
Agreed.
Yeah, I agree as well.
I'm gonna have to watch that remake now. God damn it.
That's my
Oh,
list,
it's
dude.
so
I
good.
hope it's still
You have the
there.
Netflix one?
I have
and I mean, I
Netflix.
even love how like Netflix does like a great job of taking like the lesser known cover for the film and putting it up as like their cover that they want you to see. So naturally, when I saw, because there's two of them, there's one where it's like a shadowy figure in an alleyway where it's raining, and you see the chainsaw kind of just hanging at his side. You know it's a Texas Chainsaw Massacre film. You know what I mean? But then there's another cover that I absolutely love, and it's just like where you can barely see the top part of his brow as he's like peeking over all the sunflowers in broad
Yeah.
daylight. Like,
Yep. Like, hi.
such a great
Yeah, I see that one.
Yeah,
I've
such
seen
a
that
great
one.
cover, dude. He's just like, don't mind me. I'm, just
Right?
yeah, like, and that's another thing too. Like, yeah. Like, listen. So the viral marketing that was done also, let me just say, for this film, I think was so good. Like, they really kind of just focused in on the website, the dark web website that took you to nowhere, and it was just these weird Polaroids, and all you heard was the camera. You know what I mean? The one you're talking about where it's like, gee, gee, gee. Like, it was so unnerving, dude. But yeah, like, it definitely sucks you in. Like, are you ready for this? Most of us were not. You know what I mean? But yeah, definitely really, really good.
Yeah.
Oh, you do have the yoga kill, guys. Guys, you gotta see the yoga scene kill. Take a moment, watch that. Matt
Yeah, I
shared,
sent it.
Matt shared the link. Oh, it's so good, dude. Like, oh, yikes.
All right.
Yeah, from the walking movie.
Unfortunately, fellas, I am gonna have to call it.
That's quite alright, my guy.
So,
Gotta
yeah,
watch
just
that scene first.
I will watch that scene here in a few minutes, but you know, I do want to spend some time with wifey. So
You make sure you
you
have
know.
her pat you on the back and hold your hand while you watch that, alright? I don't want you to be scared.
I don't get scared.
Just remember to breathe, man.
It's not me that gets scared.
Just keep telling yourself it's only a movie.
Oh, I know it's only a movie. No, I absolutely love horror
Last house on
movies,
the left.
and we are definitely going to have to, you know, I definitely want to continue doing these deep dives. I love the deep dives and getting into.
Hell yeah, this is fun.
You know, I mean, slasher movies, you know, sci-fi horror, whatever the genre is, or subgenre.
There's so many
You know,
subgenres.
there are so many subgenres that it's hard to know what to put anything into. To be honest with you, because I mean, yes, we have our slashers. Yes, we have our psychological thrillers. Yes, we have our our based on real life. I mean, there's so many different ones to actually choose from. You know it,
Right.
but you know.
Hey,
As far as slashers go, I mean, I would be remiss if I did not at least mention another Rob Zombie film that I absolutely love, The Devil's Rejects.
Devil's Rejects is good.
You know, it's really the first time that you're actually rooting for the bad guy in a horror movie. Like, it's an amazing film, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention that, since we've been talking about Rob Zombie and all that. So, but I do have to bounce. Y'all have yourselves a wonderful evening, and I will see you next time.
Hey, have a good night, dude. I appreciate
You have a good one.
All right.
Thank you so much for being
House of
here.
Mar, thank you for having me. ITP, we will be back. Gentlemen,
Yeah, man. Have a good night. Thanks for hanging out.
love you guys.
Love you too, bro.
Take care, man.
All right. Late.
Hey, peace.
Later.
I'm at that same wave. I'm getting hungry. I gotta go get something to eat.